Oh my god, I'm a Doja character now.
Hi, chat. Hope everyone's having a good day,
Hi.
good night, good evening. Why did my watch together go down a metric again? Oh, it's because of that. Oop. There we go. It just off-centers on the screen and it looks weird.
It happens. It happens.
I should also shrink us a little bit so people can see the screen better. But chat, hope everyone's having a good day, good night, good evening. We are talking about Kill la Kill again because the guy last week recommended us a video. A couple of videos. So we're going to watch them and see if they're somehow better than his, considering how bad his was.
Ain't that the truth?
Thank you, Wolfsbane. Off topic, but this has got to me. Why is Incredibles 3 rehashing story points from 1 and 2 while not doing the one thing we all asked, age up the kids? Because Disney has no ideas.
For the same reason why the director has to constantly come out and say, I'm not doing Ratatouille 2, and then immediately gets followed up by an executive being like, so they're saying there's at least a chance.
Yeah. No, Ratatouille ended on a good spot.
This is the third time, I think it's like the third time, like third or fourth time in the last 5 years that they're like, will you make Ratatouille 2? No.
Thank you, Blue Scarab, says yippee, anime audit. Thank you, thank you. And then Airnet Zen Master, member for 7 months, says somehow better than Lextorias. The bar is in hell. I don't think I said it was somehow better than Lextorias. I said, is it better than Lextorias? It could be worse. Because he recommended this video as a good jumping off point. So there's a very high chance that it's terrible.
True.
Not to, you know, dog on the guy before we're even in the thing. But chat, that's all I think we really need for the opening preamble. Though I will ask Kendra for the chat. What were your opinions on Uma Musume releasing an entire localization PowerPoint?
I think, here's the thing. I'm not someone who hates localization like most, depending on if you actually do your job. Because there are Japanese jokes that you can't translate directly. However, freaking in the soup. Really? This is SpongeBob level.
Exactly. And of course, everybody in the comments was bringing up the Merry Christmas thing, which I believe is equally as stupid.
You also can't, like, justify, oh, well, we did it because we wanted to do this, this, and that. And it's like, you gotta remember, you can't even use this justification for freaking localization because something children audience, because most of Uma Musume's audience is adults, considering that, you know, this is based on horse betting, but anime girls.
Yep. How did you feel in particular about the fact that they said, well, Gyaru isn't a thing they know about in America, so we translated them as Gen Z?
I was about to swear. So anyway, that's a lie because, number one, we have a Gyaru subculture in America, and they frequently interact with the Japanese because Japanese Gyarus do actually like to share their knowledge overseas. So, you're just retarded.
Yeah.
And I know this because I actually follow the Gyaru subculture on, like, multiple social media. So, that's a lie. That just means you're uneducated.
One of the things I was thinking about is I don't understand whether, like, well, nobody would know what Gyaru is. You know what we all have, like, at our fingertips these days? We all have these small little devices that have, like, the entire world's collective knowledge at our fingertips at a moment's notice with a robust search engine to look for it. If somebody hears they're a Gyaru and they're like, oh, that's an interesting new word, let me Google that. It'll take them 5 seconds and guaranteed they have a device to do it currently on their person.
Not only that, but even then, Gyaru is just the Japanese version of the word gal. You could have just translated it as, like, a girl's girl or a gal. Literally, there's an anime called Super Gals. This is, like, you can't do that. Freaking, one of the most popular series that has come out now is My Dress Up Darling, who is about a Gyaru. Again, there was a whole 2020 movement of gyaru subcultures, for good and for worse. You can't say that in a day and age where it's like we're like 5 to 6 years into this now with more anime fans more than ever. Heck, most of the people who are going to be playing Uma are anime fans or anime adjacent fans or just Asian fans of any Asian culture in general. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. It was just so dumb.
Yes, we all know about Hajimete no Gal. We don't like to talk about that one.
But chat, we will get into this guy's video. As usual, his name is StudyOfSwords. Not really his channel seems to be more about swords. So it's weird that he has like literally 7 videos on Kill la Kill. We are only watching.
Has 9 swords.
Yeah, we're only watching 4 of them because he apparently did like a 4-part series that kind of goes together. Thank you, Wolfsbane says most Pixar movies don't need a sequel. Heck, most Pixar sequels actively make the originals worse, with the exception of Toy Stories 2 and 3. Debatable, but I will agree for the most part. The first video is called Overthinking.
Kill la Kill is an excellent example of anime junk food. It's well animated, has funny gags, features well-rounded, likable characters, incorporates a bombastic score, and excellent action sequences.
So, just off the rip, would you agree it is junk food?
No.
Because I'm kind of against that idea.
We're probably like nerds in the sense of we've actually witnessed anime junk food, like real anime junk food. This is just standard anime.
It's standard anime, but it's also like very high effort, like animation wise.
Well, that's what I mean. We've actually. Oh, sorry. You can.
No, I was gonna say because like when people think of junk food, they think of like, it's fine. I'll sit down and eat it. It's kind of whatever. At the end of the day, though, like, it's really not that good. I wouldn't say Kill la Kill is, like, the best anime ever created. It's, like, deep and philosophical, and it'll really make you think. But it's more like compared to, like, a Michelin star anime, it's definitely more of, like, a fine dining establishment, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's like when people start like, what is it? We're otaku, we're nerds, we're in this deep. We've seen the actual trenches of how bad it can get. Meanwhile, you got a normie type of guy who's just kind of like, I've seen the depths, and they've literally stepped in the puddle.
Yeah. The Waffle House of anime. You guys have very odd interpretations of fine dining. Yeah, no, I would say Trigger is like fine dining of anime.
A fine dining Waffle House.
What would you consider Michelin star anime? God, I'd have to like sit down and really think about it. Because like
I would definitely.
It's when you think about it, like it's hard to say that like anything I've particularly watched I would consider like Michelin quality. You know what I mean? Like you can go to a food place. Like I've personally never been to a Michelin star restaurant, right? But that doesn't mean I don't kind of understand that Michelin star is a thing. I know that a Michelin star anime is out there. I just personally am not sure if I've seen it or not yet.
My thing is, like, there's technically them out there, but the difference is that you would have to count a lot of, like, old school series that would technically be shonen, but, like, shonen, I would say, is, like, the appetizer, and then you get full off the appetizer, and it's like, you know what, that's it, that's the only thing I ever need, and it's like, no, we have, like, a steak in the back if you want to keep going, and it's like, no, I'm just gonna keep eating appetizers every time I come.
What about Angel Beats? Look, just because I love Angel Beats doesn't mean I believe it's Michelin star quality. I'm not even sure it's fine dining quality by the end of it, to be perfectly honest.
I'm gonna be real, Angel Beats is the salad of the Michelin restaurant. It's good, but like you could have had more in it.
Yeah. Like by the end of it, I'm not even sure it's fine dining at this point. Because the end of Angel Beats is just so bad. I hate it so much.
I mean, You could clearly tell they wanted to do more. Heck, the people are still waiting for the visual novel to continue. That sucker's never going to continue. I don't know why you keep waiting.
Somebody said Helsing. Helsing is that restaurant where you go to it and the Japanese women with muscles like step on your balls and punch you in the gut.
Yeah.
It is, for a very specific person, absolute peak. For everybody else, it is absolute dog shit.
Someone said School Days. No. Here's the thing. You got to remember, School Days was famous. That means there's School Days, the Michelin star steak, and School Days, that steak you made at home.
I like how chat likes my description of that. I think there's actually a lot of anime that are like that. They are they are for a very specific sect of people. It is the best thing ever created. But for kind of the majority audience, it's kind of shit.
So basically...
And I'm one of those people that is at the Japanese muscle mommy restaurant getting kicked in the balls as I watch Hellsing all the way through. I love Hellsing. I think it is one of the best animes ever made. Ultimate specifically, not the original run. The original run kind of fucking sucks. Also, thank you, Spider Bro, for the raid. It is appreciated. Tokyo Ghoul? I hated Tokyo Ghoul.
We do not talk about the Tokyo Ghoul anime. Tokyo Ghoul fans hate the Tokyo Ghoul anime. That is literally the definition of going to like a tsundere restaurant and then like only getting the soon, none of the dare.
Right. For people that have never actually seen Tokyo Ghoul, the one thing I like to explain to people is I think the second season is called Tokyo Ghoul Re. The very last, I think 2 or 3 episodes, in one episode, at the end of the episode, over the course of like 3 minutes, they do a quick montage of like, no joke, 20 plot important characters to the manga. Like, all in order, just like flashing them on screen, and then that's it. We never see them again.
I've had a passing interest in the manga back when it was like coming out. Tokyo Ghoul's manga compared to the anime is like watching, like getting a menu that's actually a 5-star menu. It's specifically in the maid cafe with mostly soon. They give you the best menu with the best creme de la creme. Has the little things you don't like in it, but that doesn't outweigh everything else. Getting none of what you ordered, removing the parts that you actually liked, and then being like, I don't know, you know that really cool thing where like Toa cut her hair and stuff because that leads to one of the most important plot points of the series. Yeah, so we like changed her haircut because merchandise. We kept her haircut, old haircut, because of merchandising reasons. We can't change the hair color; it's not in the budget.
Exactly. We will continue though, Chad. I'm sorry we're getting so distracted. We are actual anime nerds, unlike some of these people.
Sure, it's dumb. Like, it's really dumb. But it is nevertheless hella cool. Now, this isn't a criticism. It's perfectly fine to enjoy it on an individual level, but to read too deeply into a show about screaming teens fighting in lingerie is way overthinking things. And come on, no one likes a nerd. So just turn off your brain, admit that you like trash, and get down here in the mud with the rest of the pigs in human clothing. So, when it comes to Kill la Kill, this is an incredibly pervasive opinion on the series.
So I'll give him that then. I didn't know this was like a bit he was doing.
Yeah.
However, this is a bit that's like specifically for tourists. I've never heard like a regular person say this about Kill la Kill.
Yeah.
Like I guess, yeah, like the tourists believe that. I wouldn't paint them as the dominant opinion though. In fact, I kind of wish we could get rid of them completely.
Well, that's what happens when you have a friend group of mostly normies. And it's like, on the one hand, That kind of sucks. But on the other hand, this is preventable. But also, do you really want to interact with the anime fandom? Even before the nuns came in.
Since the tourists came in, I don't want to anymore. It's not as fun.
True.
And if this is where you want to stop your engagement, well, that's fine.
No, it's not. You're a tourist.
If
Get out.
all you're looking for, or all you take away from watching Kill la Kill is dumb show with cool fights, then carry on. The only thing I ask is that you let those of us with a more critical eye engage with the series in our own fashion. Because regrettably, this idea of overthinking has become endemic within online anime discourse. And I want to explore why that is a problem.
I know there's a chance I am pronouncing it wrong, and I pronounce a lot of things wrong, but it like grinds my gears when people say anime, like the ah.
Yeah, they're trying to pronounce it exactly like how Japan pronounces it, but it's like, no, we can say animation.
Yeah,
we can say anime.
It's anime because it's short for animation, which is a word in English.
Exactly.
Whenever they say anime, it's like, stop it. No.
It's like, I get it, what you're trying to do. You're trying to, like, the only reason why you should ever pronounce something as accurately Japanese is if you were talking to a Japanese person, because that is the only way that you will be able to understand them. Exactly.
It's like trying to like say y'all with like a southern drawl, but only the y'all, nothing else in the sentence. Like instead of just saying y'all, going y'all. It comes off as weird and annoying. But it doesn't make sense if you don't have like the rest of the dialect to back it up.
Yeah.
So let's start over. On its face, Kill la Kill is a relatively simple story about a teenage girl seeking revenge against the person who murdered her father, and in turn, getting inadvertently swept up into a struggle where the fate of the world hangs in the balance. You know, a typical battle shonen fare. And this narrative is accomplished through creating a world where the most powerful beings are teenaged girls fighting in incredibly revealing outfits called kamui, or god robes. Oh.
And the kamui themselves are created from a parasitic alien life form called life fibers who artificially advance the evolution of hominids to wear clothes so that at some indeterminate point in the future, they could be dispersed among the human population, who would then be used as an energy source to cover the planet in a cocoon which would explode and scatter the life fiber seeds across the cosmos, propagating their species.
These aesthetic decisions, coupled with an absurd narrative, combine to make it easy for anyone watching the series to dismiss the very possibility of any deeper significance out of hand, as laid out by Mal user Mouthpiece. If you watch the show...
Why are we reading Mal user review?
Mal.
Couple supers really quick. Thank you, Wolfsbane. What's an anime that ended well, but the author kept going to make it worse? That's Eureka7 for me. 5-star on first course, then 1-star for the rest.
That's called Tokyo Revenger, because this is our Tokyo Revenge.
Thank you, Internet Zen. Self-deprecating anime fans are a cancer on the medium. Give us less Lexatoris and StudyOfSwords, more chibi reviews. I'm not 100% sure he's self-deprecating yet. We shall see.
No.
And then Internet Zen, those of us with a critical eye, get the F out of here with your media literacy filth. It's commie gobbledygook trying to pervert the intent of a story for your own agenda every time. We have to hear him out. We have to be have a genuine view of his work.
Yes.
Go for the crazy action and fan service, you'll be rewarded with a whole lot of brain-dead entertainment. If you were offended by lots of nude, you will drop it early on. If you start thinking about its plot and themes, you will be completely lost and stop caring from a point on. If you start making allusions and symbolisms and comparisons to every little detail to everything else out there, then welcome to the overthinking group, where no matter how stupid something is, you will still find some excuse to make it seem like it's amazing. And this brings us to the critique of overthinking, which is that looking for any significance deeper than what is provided by the narrative is seen as at best trying to justify liking such a trashy series, and at worst, intellectual navel-gazing.
So before we get like too deep into this, I think it's fair that me and Kendra kind of lay out our Kill la Kill understanding. So like nobody can be like, oh, well, you just changed it later, so you could just disagree with him. So from my perspective, Kill la Kill really isn't that deep, but it is deeper than people give it credit for.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fair assessment of a lot of people look at it and they're like, oh, it's just trashy anime action fighting with fan service. No, there's like actually a point to the fan service in the story they wish to tell. But then when you get the people that are like, well, actually, the life fibers symbolize the connections of humanity throughout the it's like, now shut the fuck up. Some of it is hokey anime bullshit because it makes a good story. But the story itself does have a purpose and a point. It is not just mindless action start to finish with no end goal or concept behind it.
Yeah. My
You don't have
thing
any other
is with,
thoughts?
No, I was just waiting for you to finish. Pretty much the same thing. My only thing also is it's kind of like the Hideki Anno situation. You can't go into Kill la Kill and then be like, oh, well, it's this, that, or the other. Abolish it and whatever stupid tourist take you have with it. And then be like, well, there's nothing deep about it. And it's like, brother, the whole point of the anime is, number one, the author likes titty.
Yep.
He made a cool I would say like shonen elements, but like that you could say that about any battle type series. Basically, a battle shonen with cool titties and the meaning of life and titties. That's literally it. Meaning of life and titties. Titties are the meaning of life.
Tits are life, ass is hometown.
True.
A show comprised of these heavily stylized elements and high levels of absurdity don't leave any room for symbolism, metaphor, allegory, or intertextual satirization. Right?
God, we're not going to talk about satire.
Well-known
Please, no more
fact
satire.
About Kill la Kill is that director Imashi Hiroyuki came up with a concept of the show based on a series of puns, particularly how the Japanese term for fascism, fasho, is nearly identical for fashion, fashion. In a similar way, the title Kill la Kill or Kirura Kiru is also a homonymic pun which can be translated as dressed to kill. But the wordplay doesn't stop there, and if you take the time to explore both the family and given names of the majority of the cast, and even the technical attack sets, as Kit Flowerstorm did for the Study of Anime website in 2014, you can begin to appreciate the Tolkien-esque levels of wordplay woven throughout the text. To take things one step further, as noted by Caitlin Johnson, an anonymous creator under the name of KLK Cataloger attempted to
So I think we need to talk about this a little bit, because this is something I see with a lot of analysis of Japanese things. We're like, oh, this is so deep and intellectual because it's wordplay. You know, in English, when we do wordplay, it's considered a joke for children.
Yeah.
You think it's super deep and intellectual because it's in a language you don't understand. However, they were not making it for them in a language they did not understand. Like when he says like, oh, you know, like fascism and fashion actually have like a very similar sound. That was him sitting in his chair one day and he's like, fascism, fashion, It wasn't like some deep, like him scribbling wildly on a piece of paper like, oh my god, like the connections, they're just everywhere. It's like, no, he just heard two words that sounded similar, and he's like, it's kind of funny.
You also got to remember you got to remember, guys, this is the same people that made Panty and Stocking, and they literally all just sat down one day, got mega drunk, and then just came up with Peak.
Yeah. It's like, well, if you look through all of the different, like, attack names, they're, like, funny wordplay. It's so deep. It's like, no, from their perspective of people who speak Japanese and use these words in their everyday life, they probably didn't have to think that hard about it. Like, quite frankly.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Like, we got to think about it because we don't speak the language. They don't. And even it's vice versa. We don't got to think that hard to, like, what is it? Again, who's on first? Stuff like who's on first jokes. It's like that makes sense in English and it's funny in English. Whereas they got to be like, what the heck is who's on first?
Exactly. And that's not to say like they weren't clever. To do some of these word puns, you have to be clever. But to say it's like Tolkien-esque to come up with word puns. Brother, children come up with word puns.
I would say it would only be super mega clever if, say, I don't know, because like I know I follow some people that do this. They're like reading Japanese literature and they'll like pull out old like ye old Japanese that like they've never even heard in literature class. But like that's normal when you're like a literature nerd.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No,
like,
no,
that's
I
the closest you'll get.
It's just so weird, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Catalog every intertextual reference they were able to find in Kill la Kill, but had to abandon the project by episode 14. Nevertheless, they were able to catalog at least 195 references to other media properties, both Japanese and non-Japanese. Which isn't to say...
So, now we're just talking about references. I don't think you understand that, like, references aren't clever. This is, again, like this group of guys that just kind of enjoy titty and ass are sitting in a room together, and they're like, oh, bro, I saw this episode of, like, Panty and Stocking the other day. So funny. We should put that in here, too.
Man, I watched South Park and King of the Hill. Let's keep doing that.
Yeah. Like, it's... Oh, like, you know, they did this huge project where they had to catalog all of these references. They had to do that because they weren't the guys that made it, right? You had to, like, just sort of pick up on what they were possibly referencing. But for the guys that made it, they didn't have to think that hard about it. Because they probably had just watched the anime they were referencing a day before. It's weird that you're putting this in like we're really overthinking it. No, you're not overthinking it. You're trying to make it sound like you're overthinking it. Which is kind of cringe and gay, to be honest. Thank you, Internet Zen Master. Says, I'm sorry, sometimes the lore is all that matters. Overthink things with the symbolism is how we get tourists constantly navel-gazing about Evangelion.
Yeah.
And then he sent another one as well. Panty and Stocking was created in the same method of mind-altering substances that Elder Scrolls lore was written by Michael Kirkbride on, LSD-based. Specifically while they were watching Drawn Together.
Yeah,
which is funny because a lot of people cite like Family Guy as like the inspiration behind Panty and Stocking, and there are some Family Guy like inspirations there. I think one of the creators mentioned he liked Family Guy. However, the primary inspiration was Drawn Together, which, if you've ever watched it, is substantially worse than Family Guy, at least at the time. These days, I would say Family Guy is probably about the same. Like, edgy-wise.
Yeah.
And then thank you, Wolfsbane, says, men come up with peak all the time, Kendra. We just don't have the tools to expand that peak to a wider audience. So many good convos with the bros.
that intertextuality is in and of itself some objective measure of the quality of a piece of media, only that it belies a complexity which may not be understood from a literalist reading of the text. And this, I think, gets to the heart of the issue of overthinking Kill la Kill. To reiterate an earlier argument from a Mal user, if you start making allusions and symbolisms and comparisons to every little detail to everything else out there, then welcome to Overthinking Group, where no matter how stupid something is, you will still find some excuse to make it seem like it's amazing. This perspective reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of the process of reading a text, as well as why someone may engage with the text in this way. As semiotician Daniel Chandler notes, meaning is
You're just citing shit now. What? Also, unlike some people, I don't have to pretend I'm not stupid, so I can openly admit I don't know what a semiotician.
This sounds like, can I be real with you? I had to like think for a hot minute where I heard this phrase from. Do you remember that one you remember that one guy who was like freaking out on Twitter and then that one person turned it into a Sonic meme of in a Petersonian sense?
Yes.
That's exactly what this is starting to sound like right now. And in a Petersonian sense.
So a semiotician is a scholar or expert who studies semiotics, which is the academic analysis of signs, symbols, and how communication creates meaning. Semioticians are known to decode hidden or cultural meanings in advertising, film, and text, study non-linguistic signs like body language, fashion, and traffic signals, and help businesses and market researchers understand shifting consumer trends. So people that are paid to just like draw lines between, oh, this is cultural and this is why they put it in a TV show. Internet Zen Master says, anytime someone says Tolkien-esque, 95% of the time they're referring to Tolkien's naming conventions, like Int Treebeard, not understanding that Treebeard in universe was a nickname. And then, thank you, Tella. Thank you, Armchair Expert. You're the only reason I know that word. I guess Armchair Experts brought it up before.
not contained within texts. They need to be supplemented in order to be understood. We read meaning into texts, drawing upon our existing knowledge and experience of signs, reference, and codes in order to make explicit what is only implicit. Therefore, even at a basic level.
So, there's a thing that, like, quote-unquote really smart people will do, where they'll intentionally say something in, like, this vague, roundabout way, so a regular person can't understand it. And then when you can't understand it, they'll be like, ha, you didn't understand it because you're too dumb. But in reality, you're just not speaking plainly. So I don't really know what you mean because I'm not in your specific brain. I don't know what you're trying to get at with what you said. That's how I feel about his statement. His statement sounded like a whole lot of nothing.
I think it's also just it might also be a case of this guy's discovering all of this and now he's trying to flex it. He's like, yay, I have knowledge. I want to share this knowledge in a really cool way. And it's like, no. You're supposed to do it like this because then it just makes you sound pretentious.
Yeah.
Every viewer is going to have to decode the text to some degree in order to understand it. Recognizing the intertextual tendencies in Kill la Kill will, if anything, only add to the viewer's experience and appreciation of how the show acknowledges and plays with its own absurdity. That a text is absurd should not, after all, preclude that any deeper significance or meaning can be gained from its interrogation. This is, after all, the primary means by which satire has been utilized to critique broader sociocultural tendencies.
Can we stop with this? Not everything's fucking satire, dude. They always bring this up every time they cover anything in anime that's got, like, titties in it. Like, no, you don't understand. Satire. Not everything is satire. I'm tired of hearing about satire.
No,
None
you
of
see,
you know what it
everything's
is.
everything's satire. You just don't understand it like I do.
Yeah. Oh, it's always the same. It's like, oh, it's satire. No, it's not satire. I don't know who told you it was satire.
Petersonian sense.
Petersonian. Very satirical in a Petersonian sense of the word.
But this is where I would argue the incongruity arises. This tendency to sort the media we consume into trash and art as seemingly objective categorizations for what are ultimately highly subjective personal tastes writ large. Taking this bifurcation as definitive and then making declarative statements that properties judged to be art deserve to be analyzed, while those judged trash merely enjoyed, reinforces deeply entrenched attitudes towards high and low art. Attitudes which, under even the slight...
It's not saying it doesn't deserve to be analyzed. It's saying that at a certain point, you're no longer... I'm going to be the pretentious one for a second. When you try to overanalyze what we consider like low art or lowbrow media to like an excessive degree, you are not actually engaging with the media for what it is. Like the people that made Kill la Kill, if you went up to them and you said, you didn't really want all the girls to be half naked, you just had to do that for your story. And they'd be like, no, we wanted them naked. We'd make them naked again if we did it again. If we told a completely different story, they would still be naked.
Yeah.
Because we just like naked women.
I mean, considering Gunbuster exists.
Yeah. When you are overanalyzing quote-unquote lowbrow media, you're no longer actually engaging with what the media is, which shows that you don't actually respect it for what it is.
Yeah,
that's the most pretentiousness you'll get out of me.
I'll like genuine like listen. I'm pretentious incarnate because I actually like highbrow media and lowbrow media depending on what I'm getting at because I came for something and I got what I got. It's like that time Fujimoto put out that one shot before doing Chainsaw Man Part 2. Regardless of how you feel about it, literally the manga. Everybody thought the first song was amazing because there was a lot of deep symbolism, hidden meaning, and yada yada yada. Then when he made the second one, and like clockwork, same thing happened with Part 2. People were like, it's not as good as the original. And quite literally, the name of the manga is just listen to the song, bro. Stop. Just enjoy it for what it is. It's okay. Just enjoy it for what it is.
It's the same reason like I get upset with people trying to like overanalyze Evangelion. It's like there is stuff to look at in Evangelion. But when you like focus on the items that Anno has specifically told you don't really have meaning, you're just looking for shit at that point. You're not actually quote-unquote analyzing highbrow media. You're just seeking out shit to look at so you can act like you're smart.
Yeah.
This bit of interrogation comes apart at the seams.
That was the first video, by the way.
Oh.
I guess that is to justify the next 3 ones that are coming. Thank you, Jack Price, member for 4 months. I defeated the life fibers using only flex tape.
Yeah.
And then Internet Zen Master, to quote old Freud, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, said in response to a student implying he liked to suck penis. I smell a Reddit tier midwit.
Okay.
Oh yeah, don't worry, chat. There's 4 videos. This one is just called That One Scene.
It's been over 7 years since the first episode of Kill la Kill debuted and introduced us to the world of Honoji Academy. 7 years for people to consume, digest, and reflect on their feelings toward the series. 7 years to have the space to reconsider those feelings and, perhaps, to apply a more critical eye to some of what could be considered the more problematic aspects of the show. So let's look at that one scene. If Only I Had Thorns Like a Thistle performs the function of an introductory episode quite effectively. The order of the world we have been thrust into is established. We are introduced to several key aspects of how this world functions.
I will be perfectly honest with you, chat. I genuinely don't know what scene he's talking about. I've never heard anybody say there is, like, the one scene in Kill la Kill.
I've never seen Kill la Kill, but I know enough about it to either say he's either talking about some dumb random fan service scene or he's going to talk about that one scene everybody talks about, the Ryugo scene.
Fair.
And most of the central cast of characters make an appearance. Fundamentally, it also introduces one of our primary protagonists, Ryuko Matoi, a teenage girl on an Electran quest for revenge against the person who murdered her father.
The fuck does Electran mean?
I have no idea.
Are you trying to, like, cite Electra?
I think this is one of those times where it's like, yeah, brother, you're being pretentious. A bit too pretentious right now.
Nothing pops up. I have no idea. I can only assume they're talking about, like, the quote-unquote, like, superhero Electra. But that's as close as I could think of.
Father. Ryuko engages in several fights, establishing her already formidable fighting capabilities, besting even those students wearing one-star Goku uniforms. Unfortunately, she comes up against an opponent wearing a 2-star Goku uniform, who she is unable to beat, and so is forced to flee back to the burned-out shell of her home in defeat. It is here, in the basement, that she meets one of the other central protagonists of the series, the Kamui Senketsu, and it is this meeting that I want to talk about. The sequence of events is incredibly polarizing, as a review of a number of web essays, blog posts, and even comments in Reddit or on Discords reveal.
I saw it, like, at the edge of that fucking Reddit post. They're gonna say it's rapey. They're gonna say it's rapey.
So we're not going to talk about, like, the actual... We're not going to talk about that one? We're not going to actually talk about the actual scene in the series that is considered the rape scene? We're going to focus on the freaking uniform? The alien with... You know what? I want to see... you know what? We're continuing because I want to know where this goes.
Is this moment which is cited as the point, typically during a rewatch, where the writer's previous fondness for the series begins to sour and the inherently problematic nature of the series is laid bare. Because Senketsu, having tasted of Ryuko's blood, in his frenzy to consume more, undresses and literally forces himself onto her. So this is broadly interpreted as being a sexual assault.
I fucking called it!
It's an alien. Okay, you cannot like scenes like that. That's fine. But at the same time, remember, brother is an alien. Aliens don't consent because they're aliens. And again, we have, like, an actual rape scene in Kill la Kill. This is not it. What do we mean we can interpret? We literally got Ryugo, like, fingering her, like, both our daughters at one point in this series.
Okay. But Toa, if that one scene isn't the start of episode 16, then damn, okay, yeah, it's not the start of episode 16. I doubt he even watched it. Toa says Electron equals Electra Complex, basically the gender-flipped version of the Edifice Complex. Fucking what?
What?
Never heard of that.
I've never heard of it either.
And then thank you, Internet Zen. Says, Mizu, I think your Discord will need to set up a bingo card for this sort of nonsense. I think the midwit is referencing the Greek mythological figure Electra. Maybe, and who cares what Reddit thinks. Well, I know who Edifice is. It's Edifice Rex.
Figuratively speaking.
I just was unaware there was a gender-flipped Edifice. I kind of just assumed people would just call it, like, female edifice or something. Like, if they're referencing a woman doing it.
Again, just saying stuff, doing stuff just to sound a lot more smarter than you are, which fine. That's fine if you do, but just, you're not helping yourself right now.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if you look at the sequence in isolation, the implication that this is representative of a sexual assault isn't an unreasonable interpretation to arrive at. That's why I think there are so many fans of this series who come to this conclusion. But there's a problem. The scene can't really be interrogated without taking into consideration the context provided by the rest of the series. And when you contextualize the event within a wider narrative scope, a very different interpretation emerges. Considering the thematic aspects of the wider narrative of the series, the nature of clothing as a means of social control, the liminal space between individual and clothing, the arbitrariness of the hierarchical ordering of society, and the patterns of otaku consumption, the significance of the kamui becomes all the more important. As noted by lecturer in law Rosie Taylor Harding, Studio Trigger's anime Kill la Kill depicts a society in which clothing is regulation, where those of higher rank enjoy more rights, better living conditions, and have absolute authority over those beneath them. Senketsu, a name given to the kamui by Ryuko, means fresh blood. Junketsu, we are told, means purity, and is introduced in a flashback as Satsuki's wedding dress. Ryuko activates Senketsu by accidentally bleeding on it. Satsuki, when she confronts Junketsu, cuts her pinky finger and drips blood onto it. But in the shot immediately following, there is a smear of blood which is positioned directly between her feet. The kamui are only able to achieve their synchronized forms by the absorption of blood from Ryuko and Satsuki respectively. So, given the nature of the kamui, both in their dormant and especially synchronized forms, the names they are given and manner in which they accentuate the female body, I think a far stronger metaphor comes through. The kamui are representative of burgeoning female sexuality, initiated by menstruation.
When did this video come out?
I am not on with the menstruation bit. However, did you just now figure out that this was a coming-of-age story? Is that what I'm hearing? That you, like, just now figured it out?
Yeah. Rather grab, like, the most basic symbolism.
It's like, oh, so, yeah, the reason the kamui eat blood is because, you know, menstruation. What? Why do they eat everybody's blood then? I don't agree. I think the menstruation bit is a fucking stretch.
My thing is, I don't doubt it because
also aren't they like 16?
Stupid. Yeah, but still, the symbolism is there. My thing is, you can do symbolism like that. The problem is that most people that do it aren't smart, or we get people like this who are like, guys, I just learned what periods are. Let me talk about the symbolism of periods.
Yeah. That's right. He never watched it or only watched dubs, because if he had, he'd known how to pronounce Satsuki's name right. Ryoko PogChamp Hug win. And then thank you, Internet Zen. Broadly interpreted, my guy, the Chinese bot farm and Baizo midwits don't count. It's not sexual assault. It's literally just venom attaching to a host, but a kamui. I haven't even watched Kill la Kill, and I can see that.
but assault.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't buy into the menstruation thing. And as someone else mentioned, the with the Satsuki scene, blood underneath a wedding dress can have a lot of different meanings that has nothing to do with menstruation.
And
also, again, like I said, both of them are too old to be having their first period.
But this is symbolism.
It's not coming of age from child to teenager. It's coming of age from teenager to adult. Which there's differences, trust me. We're not going to go into it tonight, but there are differences.
I'm not the only person to come to this conclusion, as noted by David Boyd. In episode 3, for example, Ryuko and Senketsu battle Satsuki and her Kamui Junketsu. In their battle, we learn the power of the Kamui manifests from the consumption of Ryuko and Satsuki's blood, associating feminine signifiers of virginity and menstruation with the two heroines and their magical power.
What? I don't know, Kendra, what are your thoughts so far?
I'm so confused. I'm just straight up confused.
I also don't know how we ended up back at virginity, because at this point, both of them have already bled for the first time. They're just bleeding a second time now. And like, do you not think about like how that goes along with your story? How like every time their powers activate is when they're bleeding again? I don't know if you know how periods work, bro, but typically when the bleeding starts is when the women get worse. Yes, he's saying periods give them magical girl powers.
I mean, it'll definitely give you powers. It ain't gonna feel like magic though.
Yeah.
When the scene is recontextualized with this information in mind, suddenly the coding as sexual assault stops making sense, particularly when the examples of both the figure.
I think we just kind of covered this with the overthinking bit. You overthinking the scene from just like, oh, it's just an alien that needs to drink blood, to try and make it symbolize sexual assault, which is an incorrect take on the scene to start with, has created a second incorrect assumption about the rest of the series because you're trying to justify that scene. And that's specifically why overthinking is bad. Because one wrong interpretation because of your overthinking has now led to a second wrong interpretation that literally ruins the entire series if you try and stick with that concept. Because it has nothing to do with any other part of the series.
You know what we could really do right now? We could literally just interpret it as what the scene is. A comedy bit.
Yeah.
It's literally just a comedy bit because clothes one girl. That's it. It's not that hard.
Exactly. And then thank you, Archmagos, for the 5. Says, Hail Puddle, Pirate, and Dear God, I'm issuing a new law which expressly forbids PhDs from writing or expressing their opinions on Japanese media. I highly doubt Brother has a PhD. Yeah. That's not an insult. It's just PhD people typically, you know, have a lot of other shit going on in their life.
And literal sexual assaults which happen later in the series are taken into consideration. When understood as an exploration of teenage sexual awakening, the scene not only stops being problematic, something that wouldn't make sense to begin with, Senketsu is a protagonist.
I just realized I just realized, thinking back to what he just said, did you mistake the colloquial term popping somebody's cherry as menstruation?
Brother literally just said Senketsu didn't do a wrong thing because he's the protagonist and
yeah. Well, now
Senketsu couldn't have.
Now that he's saying sexual awakening, it's like first off, you understand that not every girl like bleeds when, you know, they have sex for the first time. But second off, you are aware that menstruation and like a girl breaking her hymen are not the same thing, right? They're not even technically
No.
related in any way.
You and I both know this. You and I both know.
I also wouldn't compare them if I was doing like a comparison of like, you know, what stuff means. I wouldn't compare first time sex with first time period. Because first time period comes way earlier than first time sex should.
Yep.
It's so weird hearing him say that now that I'm thinking about it. It's like, why are you putting those in the same category? They're not in the same category.
Because when you have someone who wants to sound really smart and then they say something really, really dumb, it's like, oh, I understand. You're in a female dominated field right now.
Bro casually saying the hymen grows back once a month. That's what it sounds like.
It also fits very snugly into the overarching themes of the show. Ryuko's shock at suddenly having to face the end of childhood and stepping into her identity as a sexual being is met with resistance, but not rejection. After all, she chooses to continue to wear senketsu. And while it is something which comes suddenly, resulting in confusion and fear, through her interactions with senketsu, it is an aspect of her identity that she is forced to confront and, ultimately, accept.
I don't think that trying to portray it as like a sexual awakening is a good idea. Particularly because just thinking back through the series, it falls apart really hard. Even if that is what they intended, they would have done it very poorly.
Yeah.
It does kind of make more sense from like just a genuine embarrassment about her body sort of deal, because that's how it's typically portrayed, and the final scene is specifically her comfort with nudity and like her body. It's not specifically anything else. I think you reading too deeply into it has now created another problem that if you actually played it out for the rest of the series, you would understand it doesn't really make sense.
Satsuki's experience, on the other hand, is perfectly in keeping with her character. It happens on her own terms, at her discretion, despite the forbearance of both her mother and the protestations of her mother's surrogate. The experience isn't wholly without difficulty, but in customary Kiryuin fashion, Satsuki perseveres in spite of it. This theme of awakening to one's sexuality and the self-perception of embarrassment or shame from the perception of others acts as the central conflict of the series' first mini-arc, which starts here and is effectively resolved by the end of episode 3. Finally, it is important to acknowledge that this sexual awakening is facilitated by the character's dressing in Seidafuku, as it too has long been symbolic.
You guys think way too fucking hard into the school uniforms. Like every single one of them does this. You think it's not that deep. It's a school uniform. It looks cute. They like it.
Yeah. Not only that, anybody who really knows that the reason why Ryoko wears a sailor uniform is because Ryoko is a sukeban, which is just literally a high school delinquent girl.
Yeah. Just they all bring up the uniform. Every single one of these like series brings up the schoolgirl uniform. It's like, you know why they all wear the schoolgirl uniform? Because they're schoolgirls. I just stop. Seriously.
This is like the argument of what is it? People from across the world discovering how America does barbecue. It's like, why do you add the barbecue sauce? It's like, because it tastes good.
Yeah. Thank you, Internet Zen. Who the hell is David Boyd? My god, the Yasuke fanfic guy Thomas Lockley had a better grasp on what he researched than these people, and he tainted Japanese history with the Black Samurai crap. And then another one from Internet Zen says, chooses to wear Senketsu. No, I have never watched KOK, but from what I understood through osmosis is the Senketsu couldn't be removed. Yes. Yeah. Debatable. It's more likely to say that she chooses to continue using Senketsu.
Yeah.
When originally she was kind of content to like do it under her own power. Now she's kind of like, well, you know, I've got this fucking thing. I might as well use it, sort of deal.
Yeah.
Of both youthful Japanese femininity and otaku fetishization.
No, we're not doing the fetish shit. We're not doing the fetish shit. It is a fetish show. Like we need to fucking stop with this. Like, oh, you know why? Why is it a fetish? Because it is a fetish. It's hot.
I don't know why we're trying to put the. Listen, I understand. Sometimes directors are highbrow. Stop trying to say they're different just because they did. I'll never understand people that do stuff like this. It's like, oh, well, it's supposed to be a critique on the culture. It's like, no, it's not. It really isn't. The director just also wanted to watch titty too, and that's okay.
Yeah. I hate it every time they do it.
It'd be like, it's a critique of the culture. The literal director's a part of the culture.
Yeah, like stop with the. It's a part of the culture. It's not. I hate it.
This interrogation of how identity, and especially sexual identity, is inexorably tied to what an individual chooses to wear.
So thank you, Temp, for the raid. It's much appreciated. Welcome to Pain.
Hello. Ain't that the truth?
Is important. How this decision both influences and reflects their place within a wider social context, and how it can be a source of both control and subversion, is a line of questioning that forms one of the core thematic threads which runs throughout this series.
It's really not. That's that whole video, by the way.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So the entire point of this video is to tell you that Kill la Kill is actually about periods and getting your cherry popped. I see why the Lex guy enjoyed this guy's videos now. It is immensely painful.
It's deeper than that. No,
Yeah.
It's not.
The next one is just called hashtag problematic. It's also longer than the other two.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
The singular critique of Kill la Kill, the one which appears nearly universally when people write their initial or reflexive opinion on the series, is that the show was not nearly as empowering as it holds itself out to be. No matter how much the character...
It's not really meant to be empowering.
It's like, it can be empowering. It's just that you also have to remember that this is somebody's vision of empowerment.
Yeah.
And a fetish, a barely disguised fetish.
Really quick over on Twitch. Thank you, Reverie of the Void, for the 100 bits. So, Mizu, before I get started, how much beer will I need to endure these videos? And cute Kendra, you got there. Can I pat her? That's a Kendra question.
No. I will bite.
Thank you, Gabby, earlier for 69 biddies. It's just a vampire alien symbiote is like getting mad at Venom using with Peter or flashes with Eddie's bodies.
You know what? That's actually a good comparison because you never see any analysis videos on stuff like that. Yeah, because we're doing it to a girl. God, it's like the stuff with like Don again, where people are like, guys, literally anal probing jokes for like the past millennia. Suddenly it happens to a girl. Guys, we need to talk about the incessant alien probing jokes in anime.
Yeah.
Like Satsuki tries to justify wearing Junketsu in its synchronized form, she will always be a mere object of male desire. She can be as body positive as she wants, swear to the heavens that she's comfortable with the leering gaze of the student body of Honoji Academy, and exclaim that her self-worth is independent of what the howling masses value. But none of this matters, because at the end of the day, Both the male characters within the world of Kill la Kill, as well as the presumed male otaku audience without, will only ever see the Kamui wearers, Satsuki Kirin and Ryuko Matoi, as objects of male desire.
What?
Can we just like comment on the fact that every single time it's always like male reviewers that do stuff like this? Like, brother, you are a part of the problem if you really want to put it out there.
Yeah. You don't understand. They're hot. That means that their only worth is being oogled. Where did you pull that from? Why do you think that's what they were going for? It's kind of a joke that everyone finds it hot. Like, it's not super serial.
But what if it is? What if it is super serial?
So dumb.
This is a mistake. So let's take a closer look. The third episode of Kill la Kill, Junketsu, is a watershed moment within the entire narrative of the show, as it not only introduces the second Kamui, Junketsu, but also establishes the internal logic of why the Kamui in their synchronized forms are as scanty as they are. It also provides character-based narrative development and sees Ryuko come to terms with having to wear Senketsu in his synchronized form. This is achieved through two bombastic monologues, one provided by Satsuki,
I've already read everything else. You could have just read this. This is the form in which a Kamui is able to unleash the most power. The fact that you are embarrassed by the values of the masses only proves how small you are. If it means fulfilling her ambitions, Satsuki will show neither shame nor hesitation. Even if she bares her breast for all the world to see, my actions are utterly pure. Also, you should have picked up from this kind of rant that she does that the whole thing is about like the embarrassment of one's body.
Yeah.
Right.
There's also the fact that like you also have to remember. Notice how he's not actually showing the scene because they do the whole zoom in via the breasts.
Oh yeah, they get all up in it.
Make them larger too.
Yeah, that's another thing. He could have just used the dub if he wasn't going to read it.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like the dub, if you're not going to read it, just use the dub and then people can hear it. Boba. Thank you.
Oh.
the other by Mako Makanshoku.
Come on, Ryoko, get naked. I know for a fact that you are not inferior to Lady Satsuki. Your boobs are way bigger than hers, way bigger. I know because I saw them. That Ryoko, my family said, she's got a great rack. We were all talking about what a splendid body you have, so perk up and stop being embarrassed. Rip off your clothes and get naked.
Again, not showing the actual scene because it is like portrayed completely for laughs, especially with, you know, her specifically because she's the most hilarious character in the entire series.
Exactly. It's just weird that you're playing out the whole scene, but you're not like... First off, you're not using the dub, so people can't understand it. Unless they're sitting down reading it. But second off, you don't even have like the scene playing in the background. You just have a screenshot. It's just weird.
I know people who are like who've never watched the anime or even seen like the whole manga sequences are just confused with all just the random sound effects in the background.
Yeah.
Ryuko, for her part, takes both speeches to heart and, accepting this new reality, is finally able to synchronize with Senketsu and becomes a match for Satsuki. This messaging is, however, not without its critics. The argument is that these justifications do not hold up to critical examination. This is because, despite the stated personal views of the characters as subjects, Both the fictional male audience as well as the assumed male viewer still get to leer at these girls dressed in outfits that leave little to the imagination. And this is because of an incredibly pervasive facet of visual media called the male gaze.
No, fuck off. Go, 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 get out.
Not gonna lie, the way you cut it off, I immediately was like, yes, the male gaze. Not to confuse with the male gaze, but the male gaze.
Anybody who says the male gaze even exists, you do not belong in the conversation.
And not only that, even if you number one, if you are gonna do the whole male gaze thing, number one, don't be a guy trying to critique the male gaze. You're a part of the male gaze.
For people who don't know, the male gaze is basically the idea that all visual media is specifically made to objectify women, specifically because men will want to watch it more. And the reality is that's just not true at all.
Yeah.
Now, it's true that typically people in visual media are pretty people, but there are pretty men and there are pretty women because they want to attract male viewers and female viewers. However, you'll never in your fucking life hear somebody say the female gaze because they don't care if something's hot for women. They literally only care if something is hot for men.
Yeah.
They also use it as a justification to be like, well, this has less artistic quality because it's made to look good to guys. What? Thank you, Internet Zen. Listen, seeing hot women in sailor fukas is seen as hot in Japan. To call it fetishizing is to attack Japanese culture as a whole. Internet Zen, as objects of male desire. Listen, you self-hating dude, they're fictional characters. Why do you care about the thoughts of beings that don't exist? And then I just checked, and it's worth noting that Kill la Kill came out after the first Bayonetta game, 2013 versus 2009. Women being empowered by their beauty and sexuality was big back then. Also, lesbians exist. Also true.
No. Lesbians can only frolic in fields. They do not have any sexual needs whatsoever. That is big propaganda by Big Pharma. Until, in fact, none of them, they don't like sex at all. What is wrong with you?
Yeah. Then thank you, None Left, for being a member for 9 months. They said he probably did not show the clip to avoid copyright strikes. Yeah, but he could have done more. If you can't do certain things, you have to do other things to make up for it, and he just chose to do nothing.
Also, there's the fact that, you do realize they can still strike you for audio, right?
Yeah. In fact, you're more likely to get hit by audio in many cases.
Heck, back in the day, Chibi Reviews alone got struck by having a screenshot. Audio is not. Audio is literally, they do not care.
Yeah.
The concept was first proposed by John Berger in his 1972 documentary and book of the same name, Ways of Seeing.
And he was wrong.
Despite never actually using the phrase, the male gaze, Berger nevertheless wrote about the presumed viewer of the artworks he was examining. One might simplify this by saying, men act and women appear. Men look at women, women watch themselves being looked at. This determines not only most relations between men and women, but also the relation of women to themselves. The surveyor of women in herself is male, the surveyed female. Thus, she turns herself into an object, and most particularly, an object of vision, a sight. The concept was coined and popularized by feminist writer Laura Mulvey in her 1973 essay, Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema. Rooted in psychoanalytic analysis, Mulvey made a very compelling case for the default lens of the cinema to be coded as male. In a world ordered by sexual imbalance, pleasure in looking has been split between active male and passive female. The determining male gaze projects its fantasy onto the female figure, which is styled accordingly. Traditionally, the woman displayed has functioned on two levels: an erotic object for the characters within the screen story, and as an erotic object for the spectator within the auditorium, with a shifting tension between the looks of either side of the screen.
So it's important to understand the only reason the quote-unquote male gaze is more popular in, like, movies and cinema is because women don't like visual media as much. Like, that's statistically, women would prefer to read about it. They would prefer the prose, they would prefer, you know, the text. Whereas men would prefer to just see it. It's like, you aren't coming up with like, oh, it's a problem because of this. No, it's just gonna be that way. And that's not to say women don't deserve their like eye candy cinema. They 100% do. But it's never gonna be the majority of it because it doesn't make a majority of the money.
Yeah.
It's the same way like where people say, well, where are all the books for men? Men just aren't reading. So there just aren't gonna be that many books for men. That's just the reality of it.
It's one of the reasons why, listen, as much as we understand there are male shoujo fans, they are not the majority. This is a woman-dominated field.
Exactly. So like, this whole argument immediately falls apart whenever you think about it for like 10 seconds.
Mulvey's essay was incredibly impactful, and the influence of the idea of the male gaze on not only cinema, but visual media as a whole, has been profound. Its influence is, I will argue, precisely why critics are able to dismiss the spoken words of the characters and assert that the continued nature of the revealing outfits and cinematography of the series still centers and promotes the male gaze. According to Rianne Torres in her 2018 article, My Fave is Problematic, Kill a Kill, from the audience's point of view, we see both girls put into sexually humiliating situations, like Ryuko's first fights and Satsuki being imprisoned by her mother, and in both cases, the camera frames them for titillation. The show may claim the two are empowered because of the physical strength they receive from Senketsu and Junketsu, but in the end, they're still being objectified by the rest of the people in their universe, and in ours. In these kinds of analyses, the influence of Mulvey is quite clear, and perspectives like Torres are not outliers, as numerous essays of a similar vein make remarkably similar arguments. Building off the established assumption of the male gaze, a reasonably convincing argument can be made which certainly appears to undercut the stated narration. But there's
No, you have invented, like, a meaning behind this that it's, like, specifically supposed to empower women. So now you have to, like, force it to fit that box. And that's part of why the male gaze sucks. The male gaze didn't make it so you could analyze this as it was meant to be analyzed while ignoring the sexual parts of it. It made it so you had to twist the meaning of the entire series to force it to fit into your feminist lens.
Yeah.
That's where your overthinking gets you, is we are currently at the point where every single video you have done, including this one, you do not understand the point of Kill la Kill. And you don't understand the point of Kill la Kill because you made one mistake with overthinking the start of it, and then had to force the rest of the series to fit that mistake.
Exactly.
a problem. In a rather ironic fashion, the argument being made is that the male gaze is both necessary and unassailable. The authors become so caught up in their own assertions as foregone conclusions that the idea of using the assumed male gaze as a tool to critique the tendencies in anime, let alone alternative readings, are precluded.
It's not a critique of anime. I hate when you guys do this shit with Kill la Kill.
Brothers, do people just not understand that these animators are like, they
Horny?
literally signed up for this job for a reason. They didn't just get forced into the animation minds, and now are just stuck doing animation forever. The director came out and said, fan service will save the world. And meant that with his whole chest. And they still continue doing that to this day, unless the project is not based on their own original works, like Dungeon Meshi.
And it's the same thing with, like, Anno's work with Evangelion. And they're like, oh, no, you don't understand. Like, Anno's trying to say that, like, you know, the otaku and the fan service is wrong and that you shouldn't like these kind of characters. And you get in a fucking interview with the guy, and he's like, so why did you make Rei and Asuka? Well, those are two kinds of women I just think are really hot. So, you know,
Yeah.
I wanted them in my show.
I want you to keep in mind, this is the type of audience that freaked out during that time when Dungeon Meshi came out and Marcel was laying down. And they were freaking out about Marcel laying down. Fully clothed, by the way. Just fully clothed. Still freaked out.
Yeah. Every fucking time. And it's so annoying, honestly. I can't stand it anymore. And thank you, Internet Zen. Third definition of a critic, one who tends to make harsh or carping judgments. A fault finder. Critics should be ignored and fans should be appeased. Full stop. These people hate fun things. And then thank you, Buckley. Them. Girls are not allowed to empathize with boys. I mean, kind of, yeah.
The assumption being made is that the writers are centering the assumed male otaku gaze to provide titillation and arousal, but this assumption is contradicted by both the narrative and meta-narrative of the show. As noted
You people are so stupid.
in her thesis, The Female Gaze in Contemporary Japanese Literature, Catherine Henman argues that the male gaze should not be taken for granted in the study of literary texts and graphic novels, as an awareness of an active female gaze can change the ways in which we understand contemporary Japanese literature and popular culture. Female readers and writers can find and create enjoyment in messages of feminist empowerment, even within works with flawed and problematic representations of femininity. The female gaze.
The huge part with feminist anything is you spend your entire life justifying liking things. That's all this whole, like, screed is. It's just like, I feel like from a feminist perspective, I have to hate Kill la Kill, but I love it. So I have to come up with a feminist reason why I love it.
Yeah. You know, life would be a lot. Listen, this sounds like the time I got really upset that Nekopara was sexual. And then I came to realize I don't care. I don't care that the cat girl is sexy. She's cute and I like it. And that was a mindset I had when I was 12. Unfortunately, not a lot of people have been cured from that mindset into their 30s.
You just never learn that sometimes you're not going to like certain parts of a piece of media, and you can just ignore those parts. Or not watch the piece of media. You don't have to come up with a feminist reason why it matters.
In a Petersonian sense.
Petersonian sense.
Thus acts as a mode of resistant reading that allows alternative methods of reading, viewing, and interpreting female characters and the gendered themes and issues of a text, regardless of the gender of the creators or the gender of the reader. There is a fundamental aspect that, as far as I have been able to read, goes completely overlooked in the critiques I mentioned above, and that is the role of power. No, not empowerment, but who in the world of Honoji Academy holds the balance of both systemic and literal power? Well, it's women. Honoji Academy is ruled by the iron will of Satsuki Kirin, and the wider world of fashion, the narratives representative for oppressive commercial systems, by the CEO of the fashion conglomerate Revox, Ragyo Kirin. The four strongest characters in the series are the Kirians, the Grand Couturier, Nui Harame, and our plucky underdog protagonist, Ryuko Matoi. Certainly, there are strong male characters, 3 of the 4 members of the Elite Four and Nudist Beach's Sumugu respectively. However, the former operate under the explicit control of Satsuki, and the latter never displays a whiff of any sort of misogynistic sentiment, let alone sexual aggression towards Ryuko, even after he successfully has subdued her and Senketsu. This is significant because the world of Kill la Kill, for all its silliness, plays the respect the protagonists and antagonists have for each other's power straight. This is because there is something in the world of Honoji Academy which is absent, something that would otherwise lend power.
Did you notice he made the music like really fucking loud?
It's not super loud on my end.
No, I mean it's loud compared to his voice.
Yeah, I can see it.
I would say the music is now about like on par with his voice, and it just kind of mixes together.
Yeah.
Power and problematize these lusty male gazes. Patriarchy.
I don't know why I laughed.
Fucking done, bro.
Patriarchy. Patriarchy, just naked man.
It's the patriarchy again. Shut the fuck up. I have to go back. I need to understand exactly what he's trying to get at here.
Kill a Kill, for all its silliness, plays the respect the protagonists and antagonists have for each other's power straight. This is because there is something in the world of Honji Academy which is absent. Something that would otherwise lend power and problematize these lusty male gazes. Patriarchy. An exceptionally concise definition of patriarchy is provided by sociologist and feminist writer Gwen Honeycutt. It means social arrangements that privilege males, where men as a group dominate women as a group. Both.
You know, patriarchy is an actual word, right? Like it's not a feminist invented term. It is an actual word with an actual meaning. You can't just be like, oh, well, you know, we have chosen to redefine patriarchy specifically for feminist standards. Like, no, it's a word.
Not half of being like, I love hating on the patriarchy in a show with a matriarchy.
Yeah.
Structurally and ideologically. Hierarchical arrangements that manifest in varieties across history and social space. This power relation, the power relation which problematizes the nature of real-world sexual violence against women, is wholly absent from the hierarchical system present in the world of Kill la Kill.
What?
So, I have to go back, because I don't know if you guys actually heard what he just said, but he just said another really stupid thing, which, again, you should think about, like, what you're saying instead of just spouting off about it.
And social space. This power relation, the power relation which problematizes the nature of real-world sexual violence against women, is wholly absent from the hierarchical system present in the world of Kill la Kill.
So if you aren't clear what he just said, what Mr. Absolute Genius just said, he said the existence of the patriarchy is what makes sexual violence against women a problem. Or sexual violence against anybody under any system is a problem. The fuck do you mean it's only a problem because you believe a patriarchy exists?
Yeah, someone else brought it up in chat. I'm like, you see, so sexual violence from the patriarchy is absent in Kill la Kill, meaning it only exists in the patriarchy, and we're just going to ignore that entire scene where Ryogo is assaulting both her daughters for a couple of minutes.
You gotta think about what he specifically said. He said, the thing that makes sexual violence against women a problem, the patriarchy, doesn't exist in Kill la Kill. So he's saying if the patriarchy doesn't exist, then sexual violence against women is okay. I have no idea why this 200 IQ individual just came up with that. You know, if men didn't have power, it's okay to assault women.
This is like that one time people were like, what would happen if men disappeared on Earth? And everybody was like, then all of our problems would be gone. And it's like, no, there are female assaulters too.
Your chat, let me just play through it again and just really consider what he's saying.
This power relation, the power relation which problematizes the nature of real-world sexual violence.
The power relation which problematizes the nature of real-world sexual violence against women
wholly absent from the hierarchical system present.
Is absent from Kill la Kill. So he's saying the problem with sexually assaulting women is that it's done under patriarchy. Not that the sexual assault is a problem. The power system it's done under makes it a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is where like feminist writing gets you.
When you're so woke.
Yeah, when you're too woke, you like loop right back around to being a misogynist.
Yes. I mean, that happens several times.
Will Spain says, ha, gee. And Internet Zen sends, by sociologists and feminist writers, no one gives a damn about what women who use commie tactics to get their way think. Also, let's ignore how the patriarchy is what condemns SAIRL in this idiot's logic.
No one ever looks down on Ryuko or Satsuki and dismisses them because they are women. Their being female is never treated as a weakness or a hindrance. Quite the opposite, in fact, as it is usually the leering male characters who are treated as buffoons or as irrelevant, as befalls the characters who are continuously blown away as they are caught up in the maelstrom of fighting between our female protagonist and antagonist. The coding of a character.
The closest I will give anybody to saying the crowd is male otaku in Japan is that they're joking that men are dumb enough that if a woman is hot enough, they will literally stay around and get their ass blown to bits just to see her titties. That is the closest I will give you to the crowd is meant to be the otaku. Closest I will give you. And I wouldn't even say they do that in a negative way. I would argue that they put themselves in that crowd.
Remember, last week we saw an image where one of the animators just straight up drew one of the male characters' eyes as the boobs themselves. They are the otaku.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to represent femininity, and specifically traditional Japanese femininity. Characteristics including docility, shyness, and submissiveness are utterly lacking in the main cast of female characters, while at the same time, to then posit they are coded as male would be incredibly difficult, owing to the sheer signification of the accentuation of their bodies as exemplifying the female form. In fact, what is happening is that the presumed male gaze is being problematized, and through this problematization, interrogated and challenged. I discussed in a previous video how
you are retarded. So people don't get what he said. He said that basically they are challenging you as the viewer to think badly about staring at these women. No, they're not. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is like handing someone porn and being like, I want you to not jack off to this.
So stupid. He has no idea what he's going on about.
how good If Only I Had Thorns Like a Thistle was as a first episode. And this is even more apparent when you consider the significance of Ryuko's first real fight in the show against the boxer Takaharu Fukuroda. When Ryuko first encounters him, she remarks how inappropriate his uniform is, to which he replies that for a boxer, the proper uniform is gloves and trunks. Later on, when Ryuko confronts him wearing the semi-synchronized senketsu, he remarks that her outfit is inappropriate, and she is obviously trying to mock him. However, once he realizes that Ryuko is a legitimate threat, he himself reveals his uniform's true form, but is nevertheless defeated. Right at the outset of the show, then, the hypocrisy involved in this series of encounters is laid bare. A male student is able to wear what amounts to underwear and no one bats an eye, but a female student wearing a revealing outfit is scandalized. It isn't.
So, first off, no, that's literally just what boxers wear, even in real life. They wear in MMA too. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But second off, you just said it. He believes that she's making fun of him because she specifically insulted him earlier for not wearing enough.
Yeah.
That is not, oh, it's a scandal because she's a girl doing it. It's a scandal because it's the same girl that called him out for it literally earlier in the episode.
There's also the fact that if I remember correctly, because I have actually seen this scene before, He literally thinks, oh, if I strip down even further, I'm going to be just as strong, which he just showed right now. And Ryoko's like, please don't.
Yeah. Like, you either didn't watch this scene, or you're just that genuinely stupid that you have rewrote the entire scene to, like, make it work in your weird feminist theory. Yeah, yokai. It's a scandal because the girl's being a hypocrite. Not because she's a woman. Not only that, their fucking leader wears the same amount in her outfit. So I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, it's a scandal because a girl's doing it.
Also, he's not even like, you can tell he's not even like into her like that. He's like, what the heck, bro? Why are you naked more than me?
Yeah.
Like, they literally show Ryoko the entire time. He's not blushing. He's not reacting. He's like, why are you being a hypocrite? Why are you judging me? And you come at me like this.
Exactly. Oh, you fucking didn't watch this scene, bro.
Incredibly basic point, but because of the prevalence of the male gaze, the female body is held to necessarily be sexual, whereas the male body is not. And yet, when you take into consideration the conclusion of episode 3, there is significantly less jeering from the otaku crowds directed towards Ryuko as the series progresses. The last noticeable instance occurring during her fight with Gamaguri in episode 9. In what may be the most overt example of male characters sexually harassing a female character, the behavior of the male members of the Mankanshoku household peeping on Ryuko as she is trying to change, have a bath, or has her pajamas pulled down, is treated as a running gag throughout the episodes that they occur in. In a real-world setting, this of course would be incredibly problematic, because the majority of sexual assaults occur within the context of domestic environments. Yet, because none of these characters are able to enact any sort of coercive force over Ryuko, it can be played off as ultimately harmless.
See, this doesn't work inside your, like, feminist perspective. You're trying to, like, force it to fit. Like, see, it's okay for me to like sexual assault jokes under feminism, because they don't have power. There's no patriarchy.
Also, again, the car joke is literally, that car joke happens like 3 times and they crash their car every time. It's still the funniest ever.
Thank you, Buckley. Feminists are too cowardly to review Rants. Rants is a true feminist, equal opportunity sexual assaulter. And then Internet Zen says, I mean, Kill la Kill is just battle anime. Crowds getting tossed around are a trope. Happens in Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, etc., etc. This feminist commie crap is giving me a migraine.
Again, they don't do it with the male protagonist because it's not the same. Whereas here, because woman, all right, guys, we got to talk about we got to talk about all the sexual themes in this and how sexual it is, and it's like, bro, please do the same thing with the male protagonist if you are going to, but you're not going to because you're not into dudes.
And then, the show also enacts physical punishment on these leering male characters as the punchline to the gags.
They do that in, like, literally every anime ever.
Yeah.
Like, even fucking One Piece, just when Sanji, like, vaguely looks at a girl who is completely fully clothed, he gets kicked in the face. Or, like, every time Brock tried to hit on a woman who, again, fully clothed, he'd get pulled around by his ear screaming in pain.
Yep.
It's just a fucking joke, dude.
All right, guys, let's analyze every time Bulma hit Roshi, every time Roshi failed to touch launch, every time he even looked in 18's direction to talk about the sexual nature of all these scenes. Oh, wait, you're not going to do that because it's a side character and not the main character, and because this is the Goku show.
Yeah. Like, he's saying it like, oh, it's super unique to Kill la Kill. No, the leering pervert getting kicked in the face is, like, literally a tale as old as time.
Yep. Or fairy tale.
Yeah.
And never Ryuko's embarrassment. This is because, despite the criticism of female objectification leveled against Kill la Kill, the female characters are treated not as objects, but as subjects. Everybody
in the show is treated as an object because they're not real. Everyone is an object to tell the story.
They are the agents of change and plot progression. They possess both institutional and literal power. The presumed male viewer is also rendered, at best, an afterthought, and at worst, figuratively impotent.
The presumed
Yeah.
male viewer is an afterthought. No, it's not.
Yeah. No. You see, no, they are an afterthought. You know why? Because this is a show about hot women.
Well, they're talking about like the IRL male viewer, the person watching the show. They're not an afterthought because they're the people making the show.
This show is about hot women. I don't care. We're animating this with one hand.
And then thank you, Gabby, for the 69. Not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind getting kicked in the face by a hot femboy. Oh.
The female characters are able to act in precisely the same fashion as their male shonen contemporaries, displaying their bodies not as signifiers of male desire, but as signifiers of power. Returning to Mulvey. The alternative to the male gaze is the thrill that comes from leaving the past behind without simply rejecting it, transcending outworn repressive forms and daring to break with normal pleasurable expectations in order to conceive a new language of desire. The combination of the stated narrative motivations and
This is literally, I like porn for more nuanced reasons than you. Oh, Kendra died.
Oh my gosh.
You good, Kendra?
I'm good. This is so stupid. I'm like, this is just a lot of ways to say I like titty better than you.
Yeah.
perspectives of the characters, the diegetic basis for the appearances of the kamui in their synchronized forms, and the subversive and satirical interpretation of both magical girl and shonen tendencies come together to produce a very strong message which undercuts the prescriptivist essentializing of the male gaze, and instead allows for a creative and ultimately playful critique of long-held assumptions about the dominance of the male viewer, which in Kill la Kill is supplanted by the subjectivity of the female character.
So that was all of that one. Also, me and Kendra covered this last time. It's a lot less magical girl and a lot more mecha in how it's shot.
Yeah. Mecha tokusatsu.
For some reason, everyone likes to think it's magical girl just because, ironically, the misogynistic belief that because they're women, it must be a magical girl show.
Yeah.
But we have one more to go for this. It's called Fan Service as a Weapon. Guess we'll see where it goes.
The most common reason among viewers, or potential viewers, for why they were hesitant or outright refused to watch Kill la Kill was the excessive use of fan service.
And I wish they wouldn't have watched it.
Ryuko and Satsuki, dressed in the synchronized forms of Kamui Senketsu and Junketsu, were practically naked after all, and for the sole pleasure of the male audience. Of course. This perspective was completely understandable, particularly in 2013. It was, after all, simply a level of fan service that had not been seen before, had never been so overt and revelatory in its success. This was, after all,
What are you talking about?
Things like intro.
Do you really think this was the only series to ever do fan service?
I need to go
this
back.
level?
I need to go back because this brother literally scrolled down and he straight up
Fan
just
service broadly is any aspect of a work which is included by a creator with the deliberate intent of
was it earlier in the thing? Here we go.
overt and revelatory in its.
Literally down here is kissing. Listen, guys, remember fan service is like a more nuanced thing. It only shows up in shows like these. Anime has always been a pure medium. Mizu?
What?
Oh, okay. I thought my microphone burst.
No, I'm just letting you go over your thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, brother, I think you're just a normie who thinks they're smart. But you're not.
Yeah.
That's about it.
There's never been such blatant fan service until after 2010s.
Keep in mind, Kiss exists. Somebody brought up DD. High School DD, Kiss exists, Sorono Toshimono. I was the girl who got into the fan service series because it had all the cute girls in it. I know what I'm talking about. This brother is coping.
Yeah.
This was, after all, the point. Fanservice broadly is any aspect of a work which is included by a creator with the deliberate intent of appealing to their presumed audience. This can include things like intratextual references, character cameos, fourth wall breaks, and so on. However,
he is the first person in the world to understand that fan service is not just sex. I will give him that.
However, at least in Western fandom, and specifically in the context of the criticism mentioned earlier, fan service is manifested and is understood primarily in reference to deliberately eroticized shots, scenes, or sequences.
I'm taking away my my praise. You have lost it immediately.
According to scholar Keith Russell, fan service is the random and gratuitous display of a series of anticipated gestures common in manga and anime. These gestures include such things as panty shots, leg spreads, spread legs, and glimpses of breasts. Russell's work is fascinating because he examines one of the key elements of fan service which makes something fan service: its limited temporality, what he calls the glimpse.
What?
What?
The
What?
brief flash of underpants, slightly revealed bra, just visible buttock, or flash of exposed breasts have long been staples of anime and manga. The line, as it happens, between a work of ecchi or eroge is precisely this brevity, the inherent.
What?
I think he's just talking. He's talking to himself.
I think he's smoking something. Are you saying the only difference between ecchi and eroge is how long the panty shot is? Like, no, so the reason the panty shot is typically, like, very short is not because, like, oh, we're trying to make a difference between ecchi and eroge. It's more tempting when you don't get all of it. And I think this is something everybody understands. It's why a lot of people, a lot of guys, if you ask them, sometimes a woman wearing clothes is more sexually appealing than a woman that is just naked. It's the way coverage is used adds to the eroticism. And that's for a lot of people. That's not like some weird, bizarre, complex take. It's that sometimes not knowing exactly what's behind the hem of the skirt is just slightly more appealing than actually seeing it and being disappointed.
Yep. Not only that, but an ecchi is a fan service anime that doesn't show nipples unless it's the Blu-ray. An eroge is an erotic game. It is a porn game, and at that point, you just have a porn addiction. If you can't distinguish between the two, then that's your problem, bro.
God, why is it only on Facebook that I have this? But I was trying to find like the actual full thing without fake, because if you go to Facebook, you know, like messes up the screenshot.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll do this part. It doesn't have the full thing, but it works. This is all you need to know about why fan service is always limited. There are infinite possibilities until the skirt is lifted. It is known as Schrodinger's panties.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right.
The full scene is her talking about, like, you know, why absolute territory is such a hot thing and, like, why it's hotter for a girl to wear a skirt. And she's like, well, you know, it could be, like, she could be wearing plain panties. She could be wearing striped panties. She could be wearing no panties at all. There are infinite possibilities until the skirt is lifted. That is why it's hotter to just have, like, a glimpse. It's not like whatever bizarre psychoanalyst shit you're trying to do. And then thank you, Internet Zen Master Scholar, literally who. Also, Queensblade came out in 2008 and had way more fan service than Kill la Kill did. Self-important midwits every.
The inherent value of the thing is in how fleeting the experience of it is. It is also worth pointing out that traditionally, this use of fan service has been of female characters for the presumed pleasure of a male audience. Kill la Kill does not adhere to this philosophy, and this fundamentally changes both the execution of and reaction to fan service within the context of the show. With that said, Kill la Kill certainly does have more traditional displays of fan service, but these are used almost exclusively for humor, not for arousal. No, Kill la Kill takes the very idea of fan service to an absurd end, but not, it needs be remarked, to the point that it transitions into ecchi or eroge. What the show manages to do is lean so incredibly hard into the absurdity of the spectacle of the synchronized kamui that it effectively becomes an overwhelming visual experience for the viewer. By taking the idea of fan service as a brief, privileged glimpse, hinting at some future tantalizing possibility of sensual pleasure, and producing overly long sequences where the characters strut about in outfits that leave little to the imagination, this effectively countermands the very appeal of fan service in and of itself. It is literally too much fan service. The image of just perceptible sensuality is lost in a proverbial sea of supple flesh and burgeoning female sexuality, but a sexuality which is diegetically produced not for the viewer, but for the purposes and benefit of the characters themselves.
No, it's still for the viewer. I don't...
Brother, I was literally saying I watch my titty with fine wine.
Yeah. This is new age edging.
Narratively, both the fictionalized as well as real-world audience is rendered as an afterthought. The audience is forced to interrogate their own position of viewer as voyeur without the symbolic safety net provided by the privileged coyness of more traditional manifestations of fan service.
What? Oh, they don't have the more traditional manifestations of fan service. Yes, they do. It's the entire show. Literally, show start to finish, every episode is fan service, wall to wall. What are you talking about?
You know, if at this point, if this guy's facts are as straight as they are, then I need to go. I need to go introduce Icon Club to the masses and show them the peak. How this clearly comedy anime that should not be taken seriously is actually a very good critique on fan service, and we need to put this in museums. Do you know about Icon Club?
But even more than that, by providing the characters with a palpable sense of subjecthood, the presumed male audience is made to empathize with Ryuko and Satsuki. They are made to relate with and care about what happens to these characters. There are 3 instances.
Just because you care about the character doesn't mean they're not being used for fan service. I don't know why you think those are mutually exclusive topics. I don't know who told you those were mutually exclusive topics, but they're not.
This is literally like when people say, I love her for her personality and only her personality. You like her for her face. You like her for her body. Personality, yeah, comes first, but you liked her for her face. You liked her for her body. You want to have sex with her. That's why you wanted to date her. That's why you wanted to date her. If you do not want to do these things, she is going to leave you in a heartbeat.
Of sexual assault throughout the run of Kill la Kill. 2 literal, and 1 figurative, which I'll be discussing later. The latter is almost completely unremarked upon by critics, and the 2 former cases are commonly used as centerpieces to explain how problematic this series is, by arguing these scenes are used for the sole purpose of titillation. The sequences in question occur in episode 16, The Girl Can't Help It, and episode 19, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. In the former, Ragyo sexually assaults Satsuki in a bath, and the latter while Satsuki is hanging from a chain. It is also helpful to recall that the show has portrayed a considerable amount of inappropriate behavior from Ragyo towards Satsuki. This reinforces the idea that Ragyo treats people as mere objects, or, more aptly, animals, to be used of and disposed as needed. Even her own daughter. It also underlines a history of trauma and abuse which Satsuki has endured throughout her life. Far from being used for arousal, these sequences reinforce the stated narrative power of the female body when treated as subject, because in these instances, it is instead treated as object. Given the centrality of agency to Satsuki's character,
I am shocked that so many of these reviewers can't understand context. Because he's coming up with all these complicated reasons for why it's wrong now. It's you know what a normal person says? A normal person says, hot girl that engages in sex of her own free will is hot. Hot girl that gets raped by somebody is not hot, because rape is bad. And it's really not fucking hard for the average person to understand this. I don't know why you need to make it so complicated.
Why are you clearly not turned on by this girl getting assaulted?
There must be a feminist explanation for it. It can't have anything to do with the fact that it's assault. And that's not to say that some people don't get turned on by that. I am perfectly aware that Euphoria is extremely popular because people are into that weird shit. However, at the same token, I am somebody that has openly said I have watched through Euphoria, the actual hentai version of it once. It makes me deeply uncomfortable and it upsets me. It genuinely upsets me.
Oh, I think what's funny about that is the fact that you said Euphoria, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, I know you're talking about the Netflix one, and you said the anime, and I'm like, oh, well then.
I've genuinely never watched the Netflix one. I know something about sexually assaulting teenagers, but that's about it.
The Euphoria Netflix one, I haven't seen it, but I have seen reviews enough about it. Number one, it's also a poorly disguised fetish, and it also goes through the same Kill la Kill treatment of, well, you see, it's for the narrative. So anyway, why did we have to sculpt the actress's boobs on screen to put it on a widescreen TV? It's for the narrative.
Yeah, fair.
But isn't she playing a 16-year-old in the series? Well, yes, but she's an adult in real life, and it's for the narrative.
For the greater good.
character, a situation where she has been literally stripped of her uniform, the visual representation of her power and authority, well, it's the complete opposite of wearing junketsu in its synchronized form. It is the difference between being dressed in near nudity on one's own terms and being naked and chained because of someone else's. What's more, despite the critics' assertion that these serve no narrative or thematic purpose, but are simply the most egregious examples of the eroticization of these characters, the fan community has demonstrably different feelings. For example, in a post to the r/Kill la Kill subreddit,
Fuck off.
on March 29th, 2021.
Nobody has ever said this. Everybody is clearly aware that sexual assault is meant to be uncomfortable.
Not only that, but like, if you've been in the anime fandom long enough, they're jokes.
Yeah.
Everybody, this meme is clearly a joke right now. Like, no one's actually thinking that's hot. That's the meme.
1, which involved a meme from the aforementioned sequence in episode 16, the replies consisted of some 93 posts of users explaining how uncomfortable the sequence made them.
Because it's a sexual assault. Jesus Christ, this is like baby's first morality. Like, were you serious in, like, what, your second video or whatever it was? Where you're like, oh, well, you know, sexual assault's only bad because it's done under patriarchy. You guys are, your moral compass is genuinely fucked, and I don't know how to explain this to you.
I'm gonna, like, send you something in a second. That pretty much describes the entirety of this guy's discussion on Kill la Kill.
While you do that, Noir, thank you. It's also why sundresses are better looking than anything a Twitch streamer wears. And then another one, what if you're into consensual non-consent and bondage? Would you still find it as fan service? Maybe. Probably not because of the CNC stuff. In the internet, Zen Master forced to interrogate. Bro, I have never watched Kill la Kill, and even I know you're coping. Who thinks fan service means guys can't relate to a character? Guys can read the story and relate to the characters.
There you go, I sent it to you.
This
is basically that.
There you go, chat.
Just kept that in my back pocket because every single time we encounter one of these videos.
From a metatextual perspective, this discomfort is precisely the point, because the viewer is once again forced to reconcile the expected visual pleasure of the situation. Communal baths are a common location for more explicit forms of fan service, and the narrative situation wherein Satsuki is molested by her own mother. Similarly, witnessing a character whose sense of worth is tied to her agency be humiliated and sexually degraded creates a mild cognitive dissonance in the viewer. In this way, the audience can observe how the treatment of characters as object problematizes the standard deployment of fan service, and can force self-reflection on part of the viewer and their own culpability in these perversions.
We had this discussion a couple videos back with the other guy. Sexual assault scenes are typically not intended to be fan service. They're only fan service to you because you can only understand fan service as any form of female nudity, when that's never what fan service was, and that's not what it is intended to be.
Yep.
This is not a fan service scene. This is a story scene.
As otaku voyeur.
What is it? I was gonna say, so like I said this to Mizu earlier. Earlier today, I ended up watching for the first time The Hand That Cradles. Was it The Hand That Cradles?
The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
And there's this, yes, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. And the thing is, there's a scene where like constant breastfeeding is seen throughout the movie. This guy would literally see that entire sequence of each and every version of that and misinterpret these scenes of, you know, basic motherhood as, man, they just wanted men to get into the theaters.
Yeah.
One of the aspects.
Oh, also somebody, or Noir said, has anyone on YouTube who said metatextual ever made a good video? No. I mean, to be fair, I've said metatextual in regards to Fire Emblem. But
no. You see, you're not trying to pretend to be smart.
Yeah. I acknowledge I'm stupid. To this day, I've never heard a guy say they found Griffith assaulting Casca was arousing. Oh, Atari, you poor sweet summer child. You missed a couple videos back.
My thing was, like, I've seen people talk about how, like, for the context of this scene with Casca, that Casca found it arousing, but that's the reason why it adds to the discomfort. But there has been exactly. But there has been like one person who was like, I understand that Casca getting clearly assaulted and it being portrayed in uncomfortable detail of literally the love of his life being taken advantage of and being tortured in front of him while the villain watches, and how this is a torturous thing for both people involved. But like, I couldn't stop thinking about her tits, man.
Yeah. And they'll say that and they'll put it to you like the series is wrong. It's like, have you ever considered that you specifically are weird and not the show?
To the show, which is often remarked upon, is the prevalence of semi-naked depictions of the male body. As it happens, most critics simply brush these depictions off as being solely for the purpose of humor. This is unfortunate because while the depictions are certainly used to humorous ends, they are also leveraged to display the male body through the perspective of the female gaze, as an object of desire. According to Professor of Comparative Literature, David Boyd, Imaishi's furious fan service further disturbs the male spectator's heteronormative pleasure by exposing dozens of male characters naked.
This is another thing that is just you guys and like your super weird like male versus female perspective. A lot of like particularly anime watchers are a lot less strictly heterosexual than people like to think.
Yeah.
There's a reason the traps are gay thing was so prevalent for so many years. Anime watchers can be a bit more heteroflexible.
Yeah.
So like when like Japanese guys are watching these scenes, like actual proper anime fans, nobody is going like, ugh, I'm kind of uncomfortable by his muscular pecs. Like, no, that's a you thing, brother. And you're kind of outing yourself when you're like, it's very clear that this robust male specimen is meant to make you uncomfortable. The fuck said that?
Not only that, but like, number one, like I am a pure example of this because I grew up in a Christian household. Just straight up, I have now gotten to the point where it's like, yeah, no, the anime girls are hot. Yeah. I'm still straight, but all of them are hot, and I wish I could look like that. Yeah. I don't care if the protagonist is a 16-year-old and they have the metabolism of a rat. I want to look like that, and I think I would really want to be that. Same thing with I don't know, what is it? There's been like so many like male like anime fan characters who have all been like, I want to look like Guts. Or I want to look like Astafo. Look at freaking me who's sitting over here with his femboy avatar.
This one's based off of Bach. Thank you, Satoru Yoki, for the 20. This reminds me of my former best friend's crazy fiance. I asked her how she felt about age equals a number, watched her face shift from disgust to begin okay with it when I applied that to Canadian Maid being for children. Jesus Christ.
Wait, what? Canadian what?
Maid. Do you not know what maid is?
Which maid are we talking about?
Canadian Maid is medical assistance in dying.
Oh, okay, then yes.
Yeah.
An equally enticing female gaze directed at their bodies. For all of the overt fan service provided by the Kamui, it is in fact the male body and their...
I don't know if you guys saw this when I pulled it up, but he has his like sections named. This one is called queering.
Okay, bro.
For male characters who are the most overtly sexualized figures in the series, ranging from the exhibitionist leader of Nudist Beach, Aikuro Mikisugi, to the male members of the Elite Four, the sadomasochistic Iragamaguri, the voyeuristic Hoka Inamuta, and the phallus-wielding Uzu Sanagiyama. Their overtly sexualized nature is also reflected in their modes of dress and styles of combat, blending the tendencies of Mahou Shoujo and the traditional battle shonen to create a discordant coding. The presumed heterosexual male gaze is confused.
Again, I understand why people think it's Magical Girl. It is 100% more mecha inspired.
This is the result. This is the consequences of people just not picking up Pretty Cure, despite it literally coming out, one season coming out every year. This is its consequences, because you can't be this stupid.
Yeah.
Used by overt displays of the masculine body as desire object. These depictions of sexualized male bodies maps out exceptionally well onto Catherine Hemmon's conception of resistant reading, in both a textual and subtextual sense, while also providing a distinct coding of homoeroticism. Among the many unconventional aspects of Kill la Kill, even within the context of a limited shonen series, there is very little discussion of romance and relationships. The potential for ships is staggering, yet aside from the families of the incredibly dysfunctional Kiryuins and the wholesome Mankenshokus, overt displays of heteronormative relationships are simply absent. In fact, the only pairing who ends up going on a date are, of course, Ryuko and Mako. This is often played off as a date between friends, but there are a few issues with this reading. The use of the word date, the closeness of...
So this is
analyzing the word date.
this has been actually discussed to death. It is kind of very clear that Ryoko sees it as a friend date, and Mako sees it as a I want to bang the shit out of you date.
Yeah.
Which, like, I get it, why people get confused by that. Some of this has also been fucked up by localization translating, which tries to force both of them into a more sexual context when it's supposed to be kind of one-sided. That's also the reason why Mako at the start of the series is the first one to be like, you need to get yourself fucking naked, get them titties out, I want to see them massive bazongas, just like let them hang out, girl.
Ironically enough, that's exactly what she would have said.
Yeah. Thank you, Internet Zen. Well, I have zero interest in Shishomaru. Fuck it.
Shishomaru.
I can never pronounce it for some reason. Carnally, I would totally prefer to have a body like his because women drool over Fluffy like crazy.
Yep.
No, he doesn't understand at all.
There's also
like, not everybody's gay just because they find a man attractive.
Yeah, there's also the fact that, like, you also got to remember, you're dealing with Studio Gainax, Studio Trigger, Studio everybody's associated with them. They like theory.
Yeah.
They want to see. We want to draw hot women banging other men, draw hot women banging other hot women.
You know, for many years, it was understood that lesbian porn was very clearly targeted towards men that just wanted to see two women going at it. But for some reason, in the modern age, everybody is, like, convinced retroactively that all lesbian porn was actually made specifically for straight women. It's like, what are you talking about?
Okay, bro.
Like, that's all, like, Yuri discussion is that it's like, oh, it's made for, like, straight women to this, like, love girlfriendships. And it's like, no, everybody understood for, like, literal years that lesbian porn was made for men to, like, goon over.
Yeah.
Of the characters, and the continual visual references to Mako clearly being aroused by looking at Ryuko's body throughout the run of the series. This queer reading of Ryuko and Mako's relationship is further supported by the complete lack of a male love interest. No narrative avatar for the hetero...
That's just not what the show is about.
Yeah. People will see, like, a show and be like, girl is protagonist. That means she must have a love interest. And it's like, no, she does not. Now, the reason why she has a love interest,
they even do it with male stuff. Because, like, you can just look at One Piece, and people are constantly talking about, like, is Luffy going to end up with Robin? Is Luffy going to end up with Nami? It's like, no, he's going to end up with, like, a fucking turkey leg.
No, what is it? Just straight up, even Oda said in an interview, yes, Luffy does like Hancock the same way he likes everyone else. But the thing is she literally straight up says, will you take my marriage proposal? And he says, no, the One Piece comes first. When the One Piece is finished, he may consider it.
Exactly.
It's like Goku as well.
It's anytime there is a main character, everybody thinks they have to have a love interest. And sometimes they do, and they're shoved to the side, like with Goku, right? So Goku gets married, and then she's never seen again.
Oh no, she's seen caring for Gohan.
Yeah, but it's like, Goku doesn't need to have sexual tension with any other woman that shows up because he's already married, so we can just leave that, in the past.
Yup.
Sometimes there's somebody that's specifically made for them already. Good example are both Naruto and fucking
Hinata.
Well, Naruto and Hinata, yeah. But I was trying to think of two male characters, and I had the other one, but I lost his name. It's Edward and Winry, where they clearly have a canon ending pairing, but we're not going to see that for a while. They're just going to kind of leave it up, and then sometimes, like in Kill la Kill, there really isn't somebody that they're supposed to end up with. It's not the point of the show, and the show doesn't really plan to go on that long. That it becomes a problem.
What is it? What is it? There's also like My Hero Academia and how everybody was like, are they gonna romance? Are they gonna romance? It's like, no, this is about superheroes. Can you pipe down real quick? It's not about that.
Yeah, the romance is literally in the fucking epilogue.
Male viewer fantasizing over these female bodies as desire object to relate to. This lack of a stand-in is also reinforced by the visible relevance of the leering male students of Honoji Academy, who are transformed into either a comedic afterthought or rendered as mere objects, detritus to be blown away in the maelstrom of combat. In a piece written in 2002 explaining the fetishization of the Japanese school uniform, Sharon Kinsella examined the origin of the Koguru subculture that gained the attention of the mainstream Japanese media for the better part of the 1990s. One of the more esoteric bits of information she provides is the specific form of the Koguru uniform, the so-called shitagi-kei, or lingerie style.
You could have just brought up like a picture without a person in it.
Yeah, because that makes no sense. Lingerie style.
Here. All that pops up when you search that is like geese.
What is it? So I get Koguru, Kogal, like I thought. Lingerie style.
Then what if I search like lingerie style, I just find like actual regular lingerie. I genuinely am not 100% sure what you're looking at. This is why you probably should have come up with an actual picture.
All I'm getting is lingerie, schoolgirl uniforms, bikinis, and all of that. What are they talking? What is he talking about? The closest thing that comes to it is like fluffy Lolita type stuff, but that's not Kogal. That's just Lolita lingerie.
Trying to. I genuinely cannot find what he's talking about in anything that makes sense.
I made it up.
That's what it feels like. I can't find a single thing searching any permutation of school uniform shitagi-kei lingerie style. I genuinely can't find what he's talking about.
I want you to like keep in mind, like, chat. I draw. You all know I draw. I can't find this stuff anywhere either. You can continue.
One sec.
Oh. Like, what is it? Like, I draw. I'd find this stuff in me. You know how many times I've found, like, lingeries of, like, specific outfits I'm trying to find? Surprisingly enough, it's never the schoolgirl uniform in Japan that gets sexualized. It's always that freaking British one.
The so-called shitagi-kei, or lingerie style. Given Kill la Kill's use of fashion and the numerous intratextual references, it would not be surprising if this aspect of Koguru culture influenced the designs of the kamui in their synchronized forms. But aside from being an interesting anecdote, the spirit...
Yeah, I'm looking on my side screen. I can't fucking find anything. I have genuinely no idea what this guy's talking about.
I'm trying, and all I got was Jiraike.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are going to be able to find it, because he seems to have found something, like, extremely specific on some random fucking blog site, and chose not to show any information that we could actually look for.
So, what came up a little bit was apparently shitagi means just underwear.
Yeah.
But, like, there's not... What is it? I don't see... It doesn't even look like anything related to Japanese uniforms.
My guess was he was trying to say that there's, like, Koguru-style underwear, which, I mean, probably, yeah, but you're gonna have to be more specific. Like, you can't just say it and be like, oh, yeah, no, it's fine. Like, no, I need you to help me nail it down.
Not only that, but if they did exist, they're probably in some Jav shop.
Exactly. I genuinely don't know what you mean.
of the Koguru phenomenon is also worth considering. While the meaning of Koguru remains an unsettled issue, one of the elements often discussed is the affirmation of the subjectivity of the female high school student. Some commentators saw the Koguru as post-feminist, through their rejection of their own fetishization utilizing bold and stylized fashion choices.
By the way, I also just pulled up like an AI to try and help me with it. It literally says, well, I found Shitagi and I found Koguru. I can't find literally anything that combines Koguru and Shitagi.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, Koguru or Kogal is a subculture of Gyaru culture, which is basically minimal. It's basically just standard minimalism pretty. You constantly see it like, what is it? Recently there were that the two most popular girls noticed me or whatever. It's basically Mari and Kitagawa. You want a Kogal, it's Mari and Kitagawa, the standard marketable Gyaru. I don't know why he's like doing the whole being a Kogal is feminist, and it's like, no, it's literally just to get around the school rules without going all out.
Exactly. Really quick, thank you, Internet Zen. Gynax is literally bisexuality the studio. And thank you, Noir, says Beast Boy and Raven were made as a married couple. Interesting. You know Raven asks him to turn into a horse at least once a week.
What?
I'm just saying. You know what happens. We all know what happens behind closed doors. We just don't want to say it.
Now
everybody in that tower is like horrified.
Now I'm remembering that one freaking Manimal robot chicken sketch that like showed up in my YouTube shorts. If I wanted to marry someone normal, I wouldn't have married a Manimal. What is it? What is it? Marin isn't a Kogal. She needs a spray tan. No. She's Kogal. She is Kogal. She'd only spray tanned that one time for a cosplay.
So I did some additional bits to my AI searches. So this is what the AI believes he is talking about. So give it a grain of salt. But it said the connection from Kogal to Shitagi, the style is closely linked in popular culture and media to Burusera, a fetish market that emerged in the 1990s. Burusera shops sold, and in some cases still do, used school uniforms, gym bloomers, socks, and underwear.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only thing it can find. And then if you actually go and you try and search Burusera, it is a thing, but it seems like it's basically dead, and it has been for a long time.
Yeah.
And the only like leftover existence of it is the panty vending machines.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Dressing as they please for their own pleasure and not for the salarymen gawking at them. And this concept of post-feminism, the lack of or concern with a patriarchal order, is something which is also visible in the world of Kill la Kill, as I have discussed elsewhere. But of course, the creators and audience remain in a world contained within patriarchal systems. And so this presumed threat to the dominance of the hetero-male view is a tension which is played with throughout the show. And this is nowhere better exemplified than the iconic weaponry used throughout the series.
Okay, so sorry, chat. I am still searching off to the side, so I asked a couple more questions to the AI. Again, it is AI, so grain of salt. But it continues. This didn't start in the 1990s and then fade out. It started in the 1990s, and the exact same year it started, there was a huge crackdown on it, and they were basically made non-existent.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right.
So he seems to believe this is somehow, like, he says it's like it's a common Japanese thing. This is why me and Kendra can't find anything about it. Because in, like, even in Japanese text, this is, if this is true, it's probably, like, just limited to specific, like, historical documents, considering it was something that kind of sprung up overnight and then immediately got cracked down.
The only reason why, what is it? I think they're talking about just the fact that, like, people have their old uniforms and stuff. And so either they'll sell it because they don't need it and people will, like, find it and then use it for their own purposes. But by then, that's not really the uniform of a child anymore. That's the uniform of a former child.
Yeah.
People just got rid of their stuff.
Exactly. Like, if you say that's, I'm not saying that people wouldn't buy it for creepy reasons, but I am saying if the only reason you could think of somebody to buy it is creepy reasons, you might be the creep. And you're also going to start opening up a whole bunch of questions about, like, hand-me-down outfits and shit like that.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, I don't know how it is in other countries. I'm sure it's the same in other countries. Specifically in poorer parts of America, hand-me-down outfits are very common.
Yep.
And thank you, Internet Zen. I'm guessing he's talking about Jav actors wearing sailor fukas modified for max carnal appeal. For Sarah does sound like it fits the bill. It hasn't been relevant since the mid-2000s, if I remember correctly. I don't know, from what I saw, like, it sprung up and got cracked down on basically immediately.
Yeah.
Which explains why there's very little detail on it.
If it's like that, then even if it was cracked down that badly, that means it probably still exists, but is so heavily monitored that at that point people are just like, I'm not interested or invested. Just get the Jav actress.
The Scissor Blade and Secret Sword Bakuzan.
Is Magical Girl shoujo? I mean, typically, however, Magical Girl can be shoujo, shonen, or seinen.
Yeah.
It really just depends how they want to write it.
It depends on what magazine and what that magazine is looking for. Like, yes, like there's like a Magical Girl series shonen right now called Magical Girl Dandelion. But that is, you can tell it's a shonen because it's more action heavy and has like a dual male protagonist that is like, they're as much important to the female protagonist. Like, say, compared to, say, Pretty Cure, which is, this is a female cast, there's a boy, but this is a female cast.
Yeah. Or, I mean, like, we also have Gushing Over Magical Girls, which gets really close to just being a hentai. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh, no, I've said this before. I read Gushing Over Magical Girls back when it was I Want to Be a Magical Girl, and it was still new. That anime takes it, like, to an 11, because it was not like that in the beginning. They didn't even have a Yuri tag in the beginning. That's how early I read it.
I am curious about that because I've never read it, but I've also been told that the interspecies reviewers, that its book was also, like, substantially toned down compared to the actual anime.
Listen, the animators want to flex their skills, and they really wanted to go home to their wives that day, so they couldn't, so we took it out on the anime character.
Thank you, Noir. I grew up poor as shit. Most of my clothes until I got my first job were from the thrift store. Fair. Is Cutie Honey shoujo? I thought it was shonen, but I could be wrong.
No,
What is it?
it is shonen.
It is. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we discussed this last time, that Cutie Honey was shonen, and it was important because the guy was absolutely convinced it was originally like a completely safe for work, kid-friendly series until it got moved to a later time slot.
Nah, that manga is wild. Remember, this is the manga that introduced a lot of young boys to the concept of lesbians and gay couples.
Yeah.
Ugly gay couples, but gay couples nonetheless. Oh yeah, and that gay one of the gay characters getting shot 50 times.
Both are designed to combat life fibers, but for the majority of the series, each functions more or less as a traditional sword, each possessing an edge for cutting and a point for thrusting. From a psychoanalytical perspective, the sword typically has phallic signification.
You're so fucking retarded.
His brother.
Do you think we invented swords because they looked like penises?
This guy has the media literacy of a 6th grader.
I've never heard somebody say, well, typically the sword is used to represent the penis. Because, it's phallus shaped and you thrust with it. Like, shut the fuck up. Oh my god.
No, I've heard this. But, as, a joke. Because it's stupid.
I don't even think I've heard it said as a joke before.
People have said it, as a joke because you're not supposed to take it seriously unless the creator, genuinely is,
you cut out,
that way. But it's what is it? Unless the creator is genuinely intending it to be that way, is it beating you over the head with it? Then yeah, okay, I see the symbolism. But brother, most of the times it's a joke.
Yeah.
This is like the air conditioning joke of why feminists don't like air conditioners.
And it is therefore interesting that while Ryuko and Satsuki are at odds, they attack each other with these weapons. When it is revealed, however, that the true villain is in fact Ragyo and the life fibers themselves, something interesting happens. Ryuko recovers the second half of the scissor blades and is finally able to complete the rending scissors. And from the shards of the broken Bakuzan Goro and Koryu were created. In this way, Ryuko and Satsuki no longer attack each other with swords, but instead life fibers with shears, implements of castration.
Or life fibers are clothes. And you know what you cut clothes and fabric with? With scissors.
I had to take out my headphones real quick for that.
You are so stupid. Did you not pick up from the start that they were scissors and that it's a show about clothes? Oh god.
I think he was making this review as he was watching the series. That's why I said 4 parts.
A strong case can be...
Yeah, chat, it's the Silent Hill circumcision theory. Kill la Kill is about castration.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna tweet that out after this.
made that life fibers in general are coded as male. Between Senketsu, Junketsu, the appearance of the covers as men's suits, and of course the way the life fibers are defeated, by severing the threads in a symbolic act of castration. The most overt example of this coding also reifies the queering of the gays present in the series. The fake...
You're just saying shit now. What?
Requeerifying. Dude,
He says
Ryoko...
It reifies the queering of the gays.
Gosh.
I don't know what any of that means. I don't think anyone here knows what any of that means.
Y'all gotta remember, Ryoko did not know Mako until that point, and she was always going to have this outcome. Just that she met Mako, and then she still is like, hey, I still kind of like guys.
Yeah.
It gave her what she wanted to get married to a guy she liked. Did you know that bi people exist?
This is genuinely like giving me a migraine. I just.
Memories Ryuko's mind is infected with when Nui literally sews Junketsu into her skin. That figurative sexual assault I had mentioned earlier.
Not what it is! Jesus!
You can't have a figurative sexual assault. It either is or it isn't.
In a reversal of her relationship with Senketsu, Junketsu overrides Ryoko's mind and wears her. In the artificial memories which supplant her own, Ryuko sees herself getting married to a male figure whose face is composed of life fibers. Ryuko literally has to have the mindset forced upon her to fantasize about a heteronormative relationship.
That's not what it is. The life fibers don't represent men. They literally, context of the show, represent a alien species. If you want to think about the metatextual context,
what about if the alien species was men?
Yeah, like if you want to think about it in like a more metatextual context, which is, I guess, what you're trying to do, sort of, kind of, is they're more like tied to her embarrassment than anything. Like more of a normalcy, not heteronormative, because I know somebody's going to spin it to that. It's like, oh, you mean heteronormativity? No, I mean like just the idea of just wearing clothes and conforming.
Not only that, but remember, look at this. If you look at the image, you can clearly go is in all of them. Not her dad, who actually raised her and took care of her, Ryago.
Yeah.
It means that this is the life she would have had she stuck with Ryago. That never happened, and that's why she rejects it, because it is a life without her dad, the life that she cared about and had it stripped away from her to be with her mom. You know, a literal child groomer.
A child groomer, a matriarchal figure, literal fascism incarnate in this universe.
Yep.
Thank you, Buckley. The pen is stronger than the sword. Thank you, Justice, sending the 10 joules for hiding. And then thank you, Toa. It's literal kami gobbledygook. Unfortunately, kind of understood what he was saying. Doesn't make me happy.
A state she's only able to break free from by the intervention of Mako. Therefore, the coding of the life fibers as male, coupled with the representation of the female body as desire object, clothed as it is in the fashion of patriarchal control in the Seidafuku, or the male gaze in the synchronized Kamui, is completely subverted through the assertions of the subjectivity of the female protagonists. The life fibers are, after all, initially defeated by Ryuko wearing a collectively empowered Kamui, Senketsu Kizuragi, and absorbing all the life fibers into her and Senketsu after being impaled. And
you should probably think that this actually makes no sense with your read on the series. Like, he did not think this all the way through. It's like, well, you know, so, yeah, she technically beats the life fibers with other life fibers, even though I just said the life fibers are coded as male and they're, like, patriarchal and that she's trying to separate from the patriarchy. Yeah, you should probably realize that means your take doesn't make fucking sense.
ultimately, while wielding a massive pair of scissors. In the bittersweet finale, Senketsu protects Ryuko's return to Earth in a final act of sacrifice by shielding her from the heat of re-entry into Earth's atmosphere, his final words being,
泣くなリュウコ。セーラー服とは卒業するものだ。これからは好きな服を着ろ。私よりも可愛い服をな。
Just as the world is now safe from the threat of life fibers, Ryuko and Satsuki no longer need these subverted symbols of fan service to empower themselves.
It's not what it means! It's the transition from teenager to adult. It's not like a symbol of fan service. What? Are you stupid?
Yeah.
I'm so mad. I'm genuinely so mad how you somehow managed to misunderstand the teenager wearing the school uniform and leaving school was an analog for growing up and leaving school. It's not even complicated.
This is like that one time. This is like that one time somebody was like, "Man, I'd love Kill la Kill if they were in college." And it's like, number one, you're saying you can enjoy hot women being down in college. That's not very feminist of you. And number two, you can't really come of age when you're in college. Otherwise, we get Rent a Girlfriend.
This guy
Remember,
is
guys, if we go to-
giving me a headache. Holy shit.
Remember, guys, complain about all anime being in high school. The next time you get a college age story, it'll either be Domestic Girlfriend or Rent a Girlfriend.
Yeah, fair.
Or Scum's
They
Wish.
have, through their own agency, been freed from these constraints.
That was it. That was all of it.
Well then.
I think it was worse. I somehow think he managed to one up Lextorias. And it produced a worse video, honestly.
And a Petersonian.
Petersonian since the video was worse.
I keep saying it, but like genuinely, this is what these people sound like when they want to be like they want to pretend to be smart.
Oh, so
No, here's the thing. Oh no.
I was gonna say you have any final thoughts on it, but you continue with your thing.
Oh no, I'm saying no. You see, Scum's Wish is great if you want the biggest dumpster fire in the world. For a dumpster fire, that's what you got, and you should be proud of it. Final thoughts on this video. Number one, I need to actually go watch Kill la Kill at some point because
Oh yeah, it's good.
I'm probably gonna than that. Second off, I love how we had an entire episode dedicated to that scene and how that was considered problematic and not the literal rape scene.
Yeah, we skimmed over the rape scene. Like, yeah, it happened, but it's not sexual, so it's okay.
He's like, you see, this is sexual assault, and this deserves an entire video. So anyway, Ryago literally fingers her daughter and like fingers her other daughter, and whatever. Yeah, male patriarchy. Literally the patriarchy.
And one last super thank you, Internet Zen. What this feminist doesn't want to admit is that this entire setting appears to be matriarchal. Also, women are the ones pushing fashion in the universe, not men. Using his logic, matriarchy is bad. And thank you, Buckley. These videos are, this is our opinion or else. So, Kenders, are you still watching Jurassic Park tomorrow?
Yes, I will be. We're moving on to Alan the movie, also known as Jurassic Park 3.
Fair. I will find something for us to watch tomorrow, chat, and then next week will be the ending of Lord of the Rings with Kendra.
Yes.
I will have something planned for later this week. I haven't decided on it yet, so I don't want to make promises. And for now, I'm going to send you guys to edit.exe over on YouTube. On Twitch, I will check who is live. Also, later this week, I'll probably end up talking about the Nikto drama, because it is getting kind of crazy how much people are just making shit up to feel included.
Listen, listen. On your end, you got VTuber stupidity drama. On my end, I got Vocaloid stupidity drama. Apparently, they're trying to cancel one producer because he added the word "finna" in his song, and now they're trying to cancel him for being "quote unquote" a pedophile for having a Lendojin.
That's painful.
Brother, if I told you some of the stupidest things that happen in Vocaloid, we'd be here all day. which is funny because there's not many because people only focus on the tiny stupid stuff when we've add actual criminals in this space.
You know what, chat? I can on Twitch. I can raid into Taiga. But you guys be good. We will see y'all later. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.